Welcome, gamers, to Basement Arcade Pause Menu, the show where we hit pause, sit back, and just chill. And I'm Ben Magnet, joined by Ryan Eliopoulos.
Hello, I'm Video Gamesman Jr.
And, of course, Sparks Witty.
I'm Video Gamesman Senior?
Dad?
And we're back for another quarterly episode. The last quarter of 2022 is done. We are now in 2023, and we are here to talk about some crazy shit that went down in that last quarter, because boy, howdy, did things go wild.
Games. Games on Van Nuys, as we like to say here in Southern California.
Yeah, I will never forget that when we actually drove by Keys on Van Nuys, Brandon was surprised because I was with Brandon, our co-host on the Fake Nerd podcast, and he was like, "Wait, this is real?" I was like, "Yeah, it's a car dealership. Where do you think the jingle comes from?" He's like, "I thought that was just a thing."
It's just a fake jingle that's on TV all the time. Yeah. Hey, it happens sometimes. I get it.
That happens. I mean, you hear it so often, you forget that it's the back of your mind. It's like, oh yeah, that's an actual place. And when you drive by, you go, "Oh, I guess I am on Van Nuys Boulevard." But we're not talking about Van Nuys Boulevard. We're not here to talk about car dealerships in the Los Angeles area. We're here to talk about video games.
Absolutely.
It's true. I'm excited about it because there's a lot of great games. I didn't actually think about it until I talked to my friend here. I was like, oh damn, there is a lot of stuff that we all played.
There is a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff we all played because the past two quarterlies, essentially Elden Ring has taken over. But this time I actually have other games on my list besides Elden Ring. It's a shocker, I know.
Yeah. I have. I honestly we have talked about Elden Ring all year, so I kind of forgot that I was like, oh yeah, I still played Elden Ring in this last quarter.
Yeah, I will. I mean, we'll get to talk because we did do an episode about the Game Awards, and every time we've done one of these things, we've talked about how big Elden Ring is in our lives. And Elden Ring did win Game of the Year at the Game Awards. If you missed it or haven't paid attention. And that's mine and Ryan's personal Game of the Year. We said that on the Fake Nerd podcast 2022 year in review episode. We still have a bunch of shit to say about that game. But also let's talk about the games that we have played over the past quarter. Yes, Sparks?
Well, we start with the news from the quarter.
Start with the news. I always forget.
Oh, I completely forgot to.
Yeah.
We do this every 3 months.
Hey,
I always forget.
this is the last one of our first year of doing quarterlies, so it's fine.
Right.
You don't have any news items for this one?
I
will ask because I think you do, but I don't know how much you want to talk about here because you did kind of talk about it on the podcast. It's the recent one about Avengers shutting down. Do you want to touch on that?
Oh, do I want to start with a sad one? Sure, no, that makes sense.
Unfortunately, a lot of the ones that I have up on my thing are also sad.
Brooks, that is because I gave a small eulogy on the regular podcast we do, the Fake Nerd podcast, but this would be a good place to talk about the weird relationship I think a lot of fans have with Marvel's Avengers. Square Enix's Marvel's Avengers TM Disney, because that is a great developer, Crystal Dynamics. They made a stellar couple of Tomb Raider reboots, remakes that are really great. And then they made a really great single player campaign, and then they also unfortunately had to make a live service game. And if you want to make a live service game, you have to be supported by your studio, or not studio, the company that asked you to make that game. Because the thing about live service games is if you want someone to play your game for 5 years, you need to have content. Otherwise, you're just doing the same thing over and over again. And no matter how good your content is, if I'm playing the same mission for years on end, it's gonna get boring. It's gonna get repetitive. And unfortunately, they kept getting their resources cut. And for some reason, this is to the biggest franchise in the world. This is to the Avengers. They have up until James Cameron retook it, Avengers was the highest grossing movie of all time. They made Black Widow and Iron Man a household name, and in the comics, those were nobody cared about those characters. And that's no disrespect to those characters, but you know what I mean. The fact that Avengers was the biggest thing in the world, and then they made one of the worst live service products, because I think that game is fun. I keep coming back to it over and over just because it's the only game where I get to play Iron Man, and it feels like Iron Man, where he has loads of weapons. I get to be the Hulkbuster whenever I want, all this great stuff. There's so many characters. I had a dozen by the end. It just sucks after War for Wakanda, which was a big expansion that not just included Black Panther, but included a new zone and a new hangout to like where you go hang out all the heroes and like a level up and upgrade and stuff. Like a lot of work went in that and it was awesome. And then for some reason they didn't make enough money from that, so Square Enix was like, all right, cool, so we're cutting your budget by like significant amounts. So they weren't allowed to put out another expansion like that. We just got characters. And there's not even like new stuff to do with the characters. There's like, here's characters, and you have to like beat up 100 of these robots to get their next like dialogue mission. And it's just like you go and talk to them, and they just talk, and then it's to the next mission. And that's very boring. And that's not on the developers. They did the best they could, and it just really bums me out because like they had this roadmap, and it was very ambitious. And it reminds me of like the DC slate. Remember when DC put out that like movie slate of, hey, we're putting out Cyborg and The Flash and all these movies. None of that shit came out. I'm still waiting for some stuff that was announced like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And it bums me out. The very, I guess, nice thing at the end of the day is like they are putting out all of their cosmetics out for free when this game is now dead. They're like, hey, we're just gonna give all that shit away now. So like we can all play one day together, and we will have like 100 different outfits for every character, and that will be really fun. And this is a game, thanks to like the modern era, we will be able to play this game multiplayer for potentially years until they cut the servers off, which they will do one day. Yeah. It's bittersweet because those developers tried really, really hard. They really tried to do something big with the small amount of resources they could. And it's you know, it's still fun to play. Like there's no other game that lets you do that. Well, except maybe the game I'm going to talk about later, which is the big Marvel game that came out this year.
and I'll back you up to say that the campaign was really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's a solid campaign, and I think we forget how long of a road it was to get an Avengers game. Like they've been wanting one since before the first Avengers film came out. They wanted to tie in. We know that there was like early developments on Skrulls fighting the Avengers for a video game that was going to come out around 2012, 2013. This has been a desire of theirs for the whole time. They've known, like with the Avengers film coming out, it's been like, we should have a video game of the Avengers. Yeah. And it makes sense. And some would argue that the gameplay is clunky. I would argue that like it's clunkier with certain characters compared to others. Yeah. And it really depends on what you work with. Mm-hmm. But I think it was still ambitious, and like you said, it's fun to play, and you get to play those characters. So it is a shame to have it like. I wonder if it would have been a more rousing success if they just hadn't had to market the live service thing as much. If it had just been a maybe 5-hour longer campaign and that was it, and then expansions that came out over a while, and then eventually a sequel. Because I think that part of the live service and the drain of the live service elements that were snuck into the campaign in the in-between does create a dissonance for players with what they want to do and then what they feel like, oh, I have to do this.
That's true. No, because like even I think that campaign is really good at moments. Like, and there's like really great emotional moments. There's really great like big set pieces that you'd see in like something like an Uncharted or a Tomb Raider. And that gets overshadowed by how bad all the multiplayer stuff is. So there's people who like will never touch that game even to play the great campaign that is there.
Right.
And that game is now on Game Pass. It's on the PS Plus, service. Like that game's fully available. People,
it's been $10 for like a year and a half.
Yeah, exactly. And like, it's just such a bummer because again, like, I'm a big comic guy. We're all comic book people, and it's just like it is so weird to see like the biggest franchise be like the lowest in video games. And I'm just like, it's so weird how that happens. You'd think they would support it more, but they just didn't. They didn't know what to do with it.
How long do you think before they try again with an Avengers game?
With an Avengers game, it's going to be a while. I think they will. I think it'll be a couple years, and then they will do just a Guardians of the Galaxy version of that. Mm-hmm. I don't think they will do this ever again because they will do Marvel Ultimate Alliance, a live service game first. Yeah. Where you have everybody. Because I don't think they'll do this ever again.
I think no matter what, the next Avengers game will be like a narrative-driven thing, whether that's leaning more towards, like you said, Guardians or even Midnight Suns, taking lessons from where they can, or whatever the Captain America Black Panther game's going to be.
Oh, I forget that's even coming. And there's
learning lessons from whatever next Marvel games that are coming out.
Iron Man from the Dead Space developers is coming out.
We got the Wolverine game coming up. I know that's Insomniac, but still there's lessons to be learned about what's working there that didn't work with Avengers.
Yeah.
I think we're probably within like 6 to 7 years from another Avengers game attempt, but something that will be, I think, quite different.
I think, I bet you I bet Secret Wars is what, 3 years away?
Yeah, like 3.
Let's say 3. I bet you there will be some type of Avengers game that will be either announced or seen in at least 3 years.
Yeah.
Because that is a big opportunity, and I feel like even though they didn't really do that with Endgame, well, did they? Was Avengers announced by Endgame? Do we remember? I don't remember.
Yeah, Avengers was coming out like right after Endgame.
Oh yeah, I think
so we knew.
Okay, yeah. So I feel like they'll try to capitalize at least with an announcement or something.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there'll probably be some attempt at announcement of like, hey, we're doing this new Avengers thing, but they'll have to like come up front with a lot of good faith involvement kind of thing because people will feel burned by this.
Or just give us Guardians 2.
Which is just like, it's a bummer. I think you're right, and I think it's a bummer that I'm nervous for other games that are going to fall prey to this live service model. Because really, what killed Avengers is the live service model. It's this demand to feed live service, and like Ben and I are going to talk about a new game we recently played that is still feeding to live service. There's so many games that are now feeding to live service that it's like,
I'll tell you what, it's a string of bad publicity for Warner Brothers, because that Suicide Squad game had a leak that has a battle pass and it's multiplayer and level based, and it rings exactly like the pre notions of Gotham Knights and Avengers before that game came out.
Right.
Those games came out. So and there's a Star Wars game that's Ubisoft is developing that we know is a live service game, but like how, again, you can do those in so totally different ways. It just, everyone's making like the worst decisions with them.
I think everyone. I'm sorry, Ben, real quick. I think everybody is looking at the audience of Fortnite more specifically than probably anything, and they're like, how do we get that for years of dedicated to our game? And the reality is that if every major comic book AAA title or many AAA titles keep trying to build a live service model into their games, none of them are going to succeed because nobody has the time to dedicate days to every game that they want. Like, people just want
Destiny is hard to replicate.
Destiny is hard to replicate, and even then, Destiny is pretty much, they know, only successful with the fan base they have at this point. They don't keep doing things expecting the fan base to grow by much. Yeah. They might get some people to come back when an event happens, and then they'll taper off. But the core Destiny fan base has been there the whole time, and they've decided that's good enough. They're still there.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, it seems that the games as a service or live service games are the new trend that a bunch of gaming companies are trying to follow. Because remember, like, when Fortnite was still super popular, we were seeing countless battle royale games come out.
Yeah,
and now we're doing the same. Like, when I was hyped for Avengers. I was like, yeah, I want to play as the Avengers. This looks great. And then it's like, oh, this is a live service game. And then Gotham Knights the same thing. I was like, no, this game looks great. I want to play as like Red Hood. And then it's like, oh, it's a live service game. I'm not for it. And now that we're hearing Suicide Squad is becoming the same thing, I feel that I will admit, live service games can be good. Look at Fortnite. Fortnite is the most popular live service game that's out here right now. I would say followed closely, though maybe not super closely, but Overwatch 2 people are still playing Overwatch 2.
Genshin Impact is probably that's a good game too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say Genshin Impact is falling very closely to Fortnite. Thank you, Ryan. But I do feel that a lot of gamers are just sick and tired of the live service model, that when a game, especially when it involves an IP they're really excited about, and they hear the term, oh yeah, battle pass, leveling, it's like, no.
I don't, but here's the thing, I don't necessarily hate a battle pass. I quite like a good battle pass.
Yeah.
Like, especially the newer models of Fortnite's battle passes. I really like that system.
Right.
And Multiverse's battle pass I really like, because there's a premium and a free one. I think a lot of games do that, right? But it's like, I don't want every game to be that.
That's the thing. Yeah, so
I don't need every game to be that.
I was gonna say the same thing, which is that like the live service model isn't inherently the problem. The problem is that like everyone's looking at the live service models,
the monetization of every little
and
thing.
Said copy paste, but without thinking about how to integrate it. Because the thing is, like, Fortnite doesn't feel like it's preying upon me with its live service.
It's all skin. It's all cosmetics. None of it changes the game.
It's not trapping me.
Yeah.
And I think more and more the problem becomes when you are trying to have your cake and eat it too, with like a narrative storytelling and incorporate a live service inside of it.
Yeah.
It's not going to work.
Yeah.
Unless you think of a new way to do it. You have to think of a new way to do it. You can't just take the model of Fortnite and try to incorporate that into a narrative game. That doesn't translate. Right. It's not going to click.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's enough on that one. I've only got one, Ben. If you don't mind, I'll go off. Do you guys know about the Smash World Tour?
The Smash Brothers?
Yeah, Super Smash Brothers World Tour.
I've heard of it.
Okay, so like big esports event. They culminate. They were going to have like their biggest...
Oh, is this like Nintendo?
Yes.
Oh, okay, sure.
They were going to culminate into like their Super Bowl event.
Yes.
Where it was going to have the highest prize money for a Super Smash Brothers tournament, and all the tournaments of the year last year had been leading up to this event.
Yeah.
And then just a little while before, Nintendo said, no, that's not going to happen. And in fact, no Smash World Tour stuff will happen for 2023 either.
Yeah.
We don't agree with their licensing. The Smash community, rightfully, super upset that Nintendo did this, pulled out their license and said, no. There's a lot of blame being gone around that because they entered a partnership with Panda Global in 2021, that they are that Panda went around like trying to incorporate people into their Panda Global Cup for esports, and basically told them, if you don't sign with us, then good luck keeping your license. And so it sounds like they put Nintendo up to shutting down competition with the Smash World Tour, which was more popular with the Smash community.
Weird.
And though there's obviously no evidence of that directly, Nintendo just like won't give a clear explanation as to why they did this. They just said no.
You know, it makes sense.
Pissed off the fans.
As one of the biggest streamers in the world, Ludwig, he just hosted a Smash Brothers tournament, saying like, this is like the highest prize winning like of any tournament ever, and I'm like, oh, that's cool that he gets to do that, but I'm like, that makes sense because they canceled that one. I'm like, oh, it's like a response to that. Okay.
No, I definitely heard about this, and Nintendo just keeps messing up when it comes to Smash Brothers. Constantly.
Just leave your fans alone. Let them support your game. What are you doing?
Like Nintendo, like there was like during the pandemic, I remember hearing a story. This was years ago, or like 2 years ago, when the pandemic was at its height, and people found a way to play Melee online. Mm-hmm. They had to use a certain program, but Nintendo stepped in and they said they couldn't do it.
Right.
And they actually, and the thing is, these tournament organizers wanted to play ball with Nintendo. They were like, no, we can do this because outside of let's be honest, Super Smash Bros. Melee is possibly if you talk to any hardcore Smash fan, that is their go-to Smash Bros. Game. There's just something about Melee, something about the mechanics of Melee that just works so perfectly.
Special sauce.
That it has a special sauce that frankly no other Smash game has really come close to.
It's true.
I mean, Ultimate is still being used in tournaments because it's Ultimate. There's more characters. Mm-hmm. But even if you look at Evos, I'm pretty sure the Evo of this year is still going to have the Smash Brothers. That game has been dead for years, or not dead. It has been unsupported by Nintendo for years, and it's still being played in tournaments. Yeah, still being played at AAA tournaments.
Feels so good.
Go ahead, Ben. Sorry.
No, it boggles my mind of how there are times Nintendo gives a big hug to its fan base, and at the exact same time will flip off the rest of them, and it's nuts. It's like, this is free money and these people were willing to play ball with Nintendo. It's just Nintendo sometimes is just so secretive of their IP or their source code or whatever that they try to keep it under as lock and key as possible. It's like, it's Smash Brothers Melee, and it's on a console that is your second worst selling home console outside of the Wii U.
Didn't that game,
the Virtual Boy,
didn't that game come out in 2003 or 2004?
Yes.
Yeah, that game's 20 years old now.
Uh-huh.
That's crazy.
And it's still being played. It's still a very sought after game. Hell, I had a copy of it when I had a Wii back in the day.
I still have a copy.
It is
That's good.
See, but to like to Sparks says what he said earlier about like Panda being the one, like maybe Nintendo was okay with this, and then it's like it's always the people upstairs. So we're like, how can we're losing 7 cents by allowing these people to do what they want. We got to cut that because 7 cents is more important than what they want.
As far as I know, with the hashtag free Melee thing, this was back in like 2020, 2021, when the pandemic was at its height, and so people weren't being able to
pandemic.
No.
I don't know.
That was all Nintendo. With this one, this could be Panda's involvement with Nintendo, because maybe Nintendo's like, we don't want to do another Melee situation, but at the same time, they won't walk back and they won't really just give explanations as to why they do things. They just said no, and they don't give any explanation for it.
Well, I think like the most damning thing about it is just what you pointed out, Ben, where like this is also a situation where the tournament organizers and everyone were willing to bend over backwards to do whatever Nintendo wanted to make official licenses on this and make everything be on the up and up. And Nintendo frequently just is uncooperative and doesn't want to support. And the major thing is like notably, Nintendo released a statement that at the time when they said this, which this was at the very tail end, like November time last year. So what they said was that this is ending the major tournament and the thing that they were heading for as the culmination of all the tournaments that had been happening up to that point. But it wasn't, it was affecting all the things in 2023, but they weren't canceling events in 2022. And then within a week, the 2022 events were canceled as well, and Nintendo never commented on it. Right. So like they really like, it's hard to believe that Nintendo actually cares about the fans sometimes. Because like this was the community's go-to choice for how to play the game and do this. And Nintendo here just really didn't seem to care, didn't bother with like putting this off till after the major event, the culmination of a lot of people's hard work for a year. People going out of their way to go to these events, to win tournaments, to host tournaments, to get to this event, and then just pulling the rug out from under them. It's pretty harsh, and it's a damning look. And we look at all kinds of things where, like, we've talked about this before, where, like, Nintendo refuses to release so much of its back catalog, or Nintendo, when it does, and it releases it on the paid subscription on Nintendo Switch, it's like the shittiest possible version of these old games. I just question how much they really give a shit about actually giving the fans what they want.
I'll tell you what, real quick, Ben, like as someone who recently got a Nintendo Switch, I've been on that like eShop looking at it, I'm like, wow, like there's still like 6-year-old games that are $59.99. They don't put their games on sale because they know you'll buy it. And I'm like, damn, Nintendo.
Mm-hmm. Like, even if they do go on sale, it's a freaking miracle when they do. But I've said it before, I'll say it again. Nintendo has definitely changed ever since Iwata passed away. When Satoru Iwata was the president and CEO of Nintendo, he definitely put gamers first. And he was definitely not shy about making sure the classic content was there. Ever since he passed away, things have not been the greatest for Nintendo.
Yeah.
And every once in a while Nintendo has definitely become more of a business money wise. It's like they look at the cost of things they do. I'm not saying that they didn't do that before, but there was a different vibe with Nintendo when you look at something, say, from the Wii or the Wii U era to the Wii era than from the Switch era. Like
the Wii was about literally connecting people together. Like that is like one of the highest selling consoles. Like my grandma played the Wii.
Not only that, I keep watching videos about people lamenting the loss of the Wii Virtual and even the Wii U Virtual Console, and so many great games. Like, yet there were digital versions of these games that you can play from the N64, the NES, the Super Nintendo, and even games from the TurboGrafx 16. Talk about a deep cut in the world of retro video games when Nintendo's like, hey, we have games from a console that was hardly ever talked about during the 16-bit era, the TurboGrafx 16. You could buy games on that and play them on Nintendo consoles. Here you go. And you can't do that anymore because the Wii U was going to die. The Wii U Virtual Shop and the 3DS Virtual Shop is going to die at the time of this recording in 2 months.
Oh yeah.
To be fair, they did give like a 1.5 year heads up on closing those shops, which gave people a lot of opportunity to go buy the games that they want to buy while they're still available. It's really funny to me that like the Wii U as like this slammed hated console is maybe Nintendo's last good conduit to playing a lot of their older virtual games.
It's like the PSP.
It's very funny that's kind of the legacy it's going to have. Like I think the Wii U is actually going to be considered more valuable over time for how many virtual console old style games did you bulk up onto this puppy.
Yeah.
Because like my Wii U, for example, has Metroid Prime on it. All of them, the whole trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
I can't get that on the Switch, but I can play it on my Wii U.
Give it 1 to 3 more years.
And will it be as good a version as the version I can play on my Wii U?
Who knows?
Yeah, that's the thing. Roll those dice, curl that monkey's paw. We'll see.
I know. I know.
Anyway, that's we'll see. Nintendo so far has not walked back this decision at all. They're holding firm to it, despite the Smash community being pretty adamantly outraged.
Mm-hmm.
Hashtag rude.
Yeah, all right, that was my major news item from this quarter.
I got a few that we can just glance over. The first one I want to talk about now. At the time of this recording, it's officially done. The servers are done. They have been shut down. It's over. But the announcement happened in the last quarter, and that's the death of Google Stadia.
Oh, rip.
Didn't we talk about this somewhere else? Oh, I think we just mentioned it.
I
want to
say we mentioned this on the podcast. I don't think we dived in depth about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Google Stadia happened. I remember when it came out, Ryan, you were like, I don't want to say you were all 100% on board, but you were definitely saying that this could be a great thing for gamers.
Yeah. I used it and it was okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Ever since the Google Stadia came out, I don't want to say I saw the writing on the wall, but I also wanted to preface that I did not wish the Stadia to be doomed from the start, because it truly is a decent idea. If you have a good enough internet connection, you could play some of these great games, or you could play games at home. You don't need a super expensive console. The PS5s were super hard to get. Xbox Ones or Xbox Series X and S's are getting easier to grab, but you don't have to spend that much money. You just need a dongle and a really good internet connection.
Dongle.
I want to say the idea was there.
Yeah.
But what ultimately killed the Stadia was its lack of, I don't want to say lack of exclusives, but really lack of titles that drew people to play Stadia.
Sure.
Well, so when it launched with Destiny and Assassin's Creed and old games. And there were exclusives coming, but they were a lot of and this isn't enough, but a lot of them were indie games, and indie games aren't going to sell a new quote unquote console, right. Even though the Stadia is cool and you could just go to stadia.com and play games through your browser with a good internet connection. That is still a great idea. Xbox Game Pass has cloud gaming service that I use all the time because my computer is good, but it's not that good. So the idea is there. It's just Stadia was the first to really try it, and it failed. But someone's got to try it. Someone's got to be there first.
I would say Google Stadia has if the rest of the country, because I do know there are a lot of places in the country, especially in what we call the flyover states, like in the Midwest. There's a lot of places that do not have good internet connections. They're lucky to even get an internet connections.
Ooh, because I knew this. So, bad timing, but High on Life, the Squanch Games Justin Roiland game with a talking gun, that was originally going to be a Stadia game, and The Quarry, which is a horror narrative adventure game, was also originally going to be only on Stadia, and then they also saw the writing on the wall, and they were like, no, we want to make money, so we got to put it out elsewhere.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because when the Stadia launched, I only knew of one other person who actually had a Stadia. And when he showed me the Stadia library, I was like, Samurai Showdown, that's cool. If I could get that on the PS4.
Yep.
There's a bunch of other games, but because even though I already have I had a PlayStation 4 at the time. There was nothing in there that drew me to drop everything and get a Stadia. And I think that was one of the things that Stadia was lacking. Maybe exclusives would have helped, but at the same time, there just wasn't anything there to make me drop everything and want to invest in the Google Stadia.
Well, Ben, here's the thing. Again, you didn't have to invest. I didn't. You only had to invest if you wanted the controller that comes with it and the dongle. You could play it just through the internet like I did.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just an app that opens up, or if you even want to just cut that, you just go straight to the website. So it gives you every option possible. It's just the dongle was the best version, for the best connectivity. But you could still just do it on a website like I did. So you didn't have to invest, but it was worth it if you wanted the better connection.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's the trick, right? Is because we're talking about something that would appeal to the niche audience of I don't want to have to pay right now for a console. but I also have pretty good internet.
Yeah.
You'd have to have pretty good internet.
Yeah.
And you have to be in both of those categories at the same time, because otherwise, well, I've got a good console that connects with the internet good enough.
Yeah.
Rather than requiring great internet to make it work.
Yeah.
And I think that's the trick, is like you're playing to a smaller category of audience, and then especially like how are you going to grab anybody who already has the consoles? You have to have those good exclusives.
Sure.
Yeah. So
Yeah. I mean, it was, I would say, a very valiant effort by Google to try it. But I would say the Stadia may be a little bit ahead of its time, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Because high-speed, widespread internet, especially here in the United States, is not a thing yet. Hopefully it will be in the future, but it's not a thing yet.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, even though that people have digital games, all the game data is stored on their console, so they can turn it on and it's there, it's running fine, internet connection or no internet connection. Whereas with the Stadia, it's literally transmitting from servers that are hundreds, maybe thousands of miles away to your computer or your laptop, and there could be problems with button latency. Like, you can hit like right on your analog stick, and then 5 seconds later, then your character finally moves, and then you die and get a game over.
Yeah, that's the problem. I tried Destiny just to try it out, and it wasn't that extreme, but there was definitely some latency where I'm like, see, like for cloud gaming, like if you don't have a great internet connection, you can still play a lot of games. You just can't play like high intense action like first person shooters. Like you can play XCOM, you can play Midnight Suns, you can play a lot of slower games with a decent internet connection. You just can't be like fighting real people, because then they will just automatically have an advantage over you. There are still tons of things you can do with a slow internet connection.
Which is really true of like anything, like whether it's Google Stadia or not, of your internet
true.
connection.
Of my PlayStation, when I'm on the regular Wi-Fi, sometimes it craps out.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, just having it corded.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I will say good I don't want to sound condescending there, because I don't want to be condescending.
No, you're not.
I told you. Because I do think in 20, 30 years from now, everything is going to be digital. I mean, we keep talking about how...
Ben, spoiler alert, everything already is.
Yeah, everything already is.
I've bought almost... I don't think I bought a single PlayStation 5 game physically. I have all my games digitally.
Yeah, I still
I'm just saying, like, that feature's already here.
No, I was listening to another podcast, the Gamers Week podcast. They're friends of this show, and I was listening to Blue talking about how she's starting to go more digitally, because she was playing Smash Bros. And Mario Kart, and she has physical versions of both, and she had to get up. Yeah, I mean, okay, it's truly a first world problem when you have to get up from your couch, go over to your console, switch the game or the disc out, then go back to your console, especially when you're like, ugh, I just sat down, and you forgot that what game was in your console already. I completely understand that, especially with Smash Brothers, because I was like, you know me, I'm still I want my physical copies. I will always see my games on a shelf being more impressive than a list on a hard drive.
Sure.
But being able to switch through them seamlessly from your hard drive is still very convenient.
I'll tell you what, Ben, and that's always been a difference between like me, and I understand like the look, because I collect comics, right? So like I do have something but like I don't care about having an impressive collection. I buy games to play games. I don't need to. Right. I personally don't need to display them. That is for me. I bought that game so I could play it. I don't care if everyone else knows that I played it, and that is very much a me thing. They're obviously like comics, I think, are like visual art, like through and through. So like I like having art, because that's very easily look at this book and you open it and you see the art. So for me, I think that's a much more transmittable collection of art for me. So for me, like again, like I'm mostly physical, because like if I collected everything physical, then I'd have no room in my in my house.
I will 100% admit that as much as I love buying physical games, there are times where I'm like, that digital edition though, especially if it's on sale, or if it's like a lot cheaper, or like with PlayStation, because PlayStation gives a bunch of games for free thanks to PlayStation Plus. And like even the other day, I was looking through PlayStation Plus. I'm like, oh, Miles Morales downloaded.
Yeah.
It's right there. It is. It's right there.
Like the amount of free games that I have is truly insane, because it's not just PlayStation. It's also Xbox. It's also Steam. It's also Epic Games. They give away games all the time just because there's so many in the 21st century.
Right.
It's bananas.
And even nowadays, I have my Sega Genesis Mini 2 over there. 60 games are packed in that sucker. I mean, it's a physical thing, but I don't have to have physical cartridges to plug it in.
It is. There are benefits and negatives to all this stuff.
There truly are. But I will say, pour one out for the Google Stadia. While
A digital drink.
it did, yeah, pour a digital drink out for Google Stadia. While it did try, the lessons we learned from Stadia can be applied to when either PlayStation, Nintendo, Xbox, Microsoft, or the next company, the next tech giant wants to try something like this. They set the foundation for what they can't, because it can't be a good system. It can be a good service. Okay, not a system, a service. But we're not. I don't think we're there yet. But when we will be there, we at least know what happened beforehand, and we can build on those lessons learned and make the next service even better.
Yeah.
Now, another thing that Ryan and I definitely talked about, and I want to talk a little bit more because a few other news tricklets came out. A gentleman on YouTube by the name of H Bomber Guy. Yeah, I feel every single quarter I have to talk about this damn system. Put out a video about an oof sound from the game Roblox,
Oof.
and he talked about that sound for a good 30 minutes, and for the next hour and a half, talked about one Tommy Tallarico.
The legend.
There have been other news reports now. If you do not know, Tommy Tallarico is the former CEO of Intellivision Entertainment. He is a game sound designer, a game sound composer. He has composed a bunch of games. His most prominent titles that he composed were the Earthworm Jim 16-bit games for the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis, and also a few other things down the line. Essentially, what H Bomber Guy did was talk about the Amico and then talk about Tommy and his, how shall we say, exuberant personality, and how there's evidence, very clear evidence, pointing to a fact that allegedly Tommy is a pathological liar, because he lied about, because right now, as of this recording, the Intellivision Amico is still not out, and the trademark for it died in July. They just the trademark office Intellivision themselves did not redo the copyright, or they did not renew the trademark for the trademark of Intellivision or for Amico, and people are still saying that it's going to come out, but nothing points to it. It is coming out, and now looks like it's a clear and honest scam.
Mm-hmm.
So it was definitely the Intellivision is still a trash fire, but that video by H Bomber Guy definitely got people to go look at this going, what? And then they started questioning Tommy himself, because he was I've talked about him before, he was a very vocal to people who were criticizing the console, and there was other people who would just hop on the train and go after him. Now, Ryan, you showed me this video, and I thought it was a 2-hour documentary on oof, and boy howdy, do I feel like Charlie in Always Sunny in Philadelphia with the lions and the conspiracy theory thing.
So good news, you can still pre-order the Amico Intellivision. It costs $0, so he's not asking money for the pre-order, but you can reserve one. When will it come out? TBD.
Because apparently the Intellivision president, the current Intellivision president, is also being sued for something. I didn't. Yeah, he's being sued, because I tried to look up news from Intellivision, but all the articles were from back in July. There's some very great Kotaku articles like the Amico's in deep shit. That was back in July. I think we talked about that the last quarterly. And just this release of H Bomber Guy's video, and even Pat the NES Punk, he put out another video, and of course more people who were huge supporters and huge fans of the Amico came out, and unfortunately they went and attacked Pat because he was doing a lampooning, and he was just doing a parody, because people have gone after him and his co-host Ian I would say, because they criticize it, and all of a sudden they're like, no, this is going to be the best thing, this is going to be an amazing console. And personally, my personal opinion, and this is just my opinion, I don't think the Amico is ever going to come out. I think there's just no market for it. There is no really market for this console, And even with retro gaming, it's a niche of a niche of a niche of a niche of a niche. There's like so many different layers. And even today's age, you say, oh, retro, like what's the earliest retro? People will probably say NES or even now Super Nintendo. Maybe a few people will say Atari, but I don't like can guarantee you like maybe 2 or 3 people would say, oh yeah, I remember having the Intellivision when I was a kid.
And there's at least like 7,000 old men who are like, I played that when I was younger. And that might just be enough for old Tommy. And they don't mind, because all they do is wait. They're retired. All they do is wait now. So they'll just wait until that thing comes out. And those 7,000 people...
So what you're saying is the market exists, but the market is also dying.
Yes! It exists, but it's dwindling day by day.
I've dived into the Amico thing a little bit more because I'm so fascinated about this console that's trying and and all the legal battles, all the internal documents that have been coming out, that how much money that the CEO, when Tommy was CEO, how much he was getting paid, how much employees were getting paid. He had 2 offices, one in Irvine, California, and the other in Salt Lake City. And they had to shut their office down. And I think Tommy himself, at the time of this recording, is also being sued by a company because he didn't pay for his office furniture. He couldn't pay him back for the furniture for the offices, and he has hardly any employees right now.
Well, I want to see if he's on what his last statement was. So 1 second.
I mean, I know he's not the CEO because he was ousted as CEO. I want to say last December. I could be wrong, but I know it's been a whole year of him not being the CEO of Intellivision anymore. I think he's still involved with the company in some way, shape, or form.
So you're saying December 2021?
Yes, December 2021. That's why I believe he was ousted as Intellivision CEO.
So Intellivision's last Twitter post was March of 2022.
Jesus.
Yeah, so that's not happening.
Yeah, but I just want to say I salute Mr. H. Bomber Guy for doing all that research on that video, for going from Oof to Intellivision to a bunch of Tommy's world records being under scrutiny.
Oh, he's also the first American to work on the Sonic property. Remember that part? Yeah, he's like the Tommy Wiseau of video games.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, if this sucker does come out, the sucker being the Amico, if it ever does come out, then hopefully the people who do get it, they enjoy it, because I want them to enjoy a console that they have fought so hard or they have clung on to for so long. But at the same time, the writing is on the wall, and I think it's time to just let this effing thing die.
Well, to try to have some positivity and be devil's advocate, like, Ben, you are of your age, right? And you're nostalgic of the things of a certain age. So there are people 20 to 30 years older than you who are nostalgic for this thing just because...
Oh, no.
Yeah, so, there is a market. Again, is it big? No. But, the reason all of these, like the Sega Genesis Mini or, the PlayStation Mini, all of these come out from all the different eras because everybody's nostalgic for it from a different age. So, there is a market. It just... Is it enough to support a huge development? Probably not.
That's the thing, because the Amico isn't a plug and play Intellivision Mini where you can play your old Intellivision games. This is a brand new console with brand new IP.
And that's what sucks, because I was on the website and it's the games will cost between $5 to $30, and I'm like, oh, this is a new console. Oh, this thing ain't working. No.
Yeah, because there actually is an Intellivision Mini that At Games came out with, and even I remember when I saw because I was flipping through one of my old school gamer magazine copies when the magazine was advertising for the Amico. There was an advertisement for it, and my first thought was, oh, something for people to play their old Intellivision games on. Neat. I was wrong. That's not what it is.
Yeah.
And At Games has an Intellivision flashback that you can go to Walgreens and possibly buy it for $20 right now.
I think if it does come out at this point, it will pivot to being that. Yeah, it'll just be a thing that has old games. It won't be trying to make it
for its sake.
I mean, me being a gaming historian who does like learning about old games, especially in the 80s, I would say honestly, cool. You want to make a new console? That's great, but test the waters first, and at least make a better version of an Intellivision console or a Intellivision Mini with a bunch of games preloaded onto it, and then test the market, see how well it does.
Or just get your console out in the first place.
Or that, yeah, and don't attack people who are actively criticizing the console, because that's what people did. People had genuine criticisms, but they weren't straight up saying they weren't saying the words like "you are an idiot if you buy into this thing." They're saying, "Hey, I don't think this console is going to work out very well."
They're being critical.
X, Y, and Z, but if it does, cool.
Yeah.
And then fanboys go out and just attack. And I'm pretty sure H Bomber Guy got a lot of attacks. Pat and Ian have getting vitriol from for well over 2 years because of it.
They'll be all right.
Yeah, they'll be fine. But yeah, so yeah, H Bomber Guy put out that video. It's a 2-hour long video.
Incredible. Real quick, we're gonna pause the video just so I can show that the two of our cats are snuggling together.
Oh,
this is a Basement Arcade exclusive. Oh my god! I hashtag blessed y'all. That's so cute.
That's cute. But,
love it.
Yeah, but one last big story that I want to talk about. Yuji Naka got arrested for insider trading again.
Wasn't it also arson for the first time?
Was it arson for the first time?
I'm pretty sure it was arson too.
The headline says Yuji Naka got arrested for insider trading again. I might have misread it.
No. So I'm sorry. This time it's for inside trading again.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, arrested again for this was from the Polygon back in October. No, December. Update December 7th, 2022.
Incredible.
Sonic creator Yuji Naka arrested again for insider trading. How the mighty, but how people have fallen over the years.
Yeah.
Especially when you create, the only one who hasn't fallen from any sort of grace, I feel, is Shigeru Miyamoto. But then you look at the other creators who made some of the most iconic video games. Keiji Inafune, he helped design and program Mega Man. He isn't technically the sole creator of Mega Man.
Castlevania!
Yeah, Castlevania, Konami. And then you also have, Yuji Naka, who created Sonic, who's the head game designer for Sonic the Hedgehog.
Mm-hmm.
Fallen so hard from grace with this, and Keiji Inafune, the same thing. He left Capcom under bad terms. Tried Mighty Number 9. Mighty Number 9 wasn't a big success.
More like Mighty Number 6.5 out of 10. Am I right?
Exactly. Yeah. And then you also, Inafune is also trying to get into the NFT business by making Mega Man style Robot Masters as NFTs.
Yeah, that one's a bummer. Sometimes I wonder if they actually know what really it is, instead of some marketing guy going, "Hey, we're doing this art thing," because sometimes they get roped into it without knowing better. I just want to give them the benefit of the doubt for the NFTs. That's all.
Yeah, because I know Yuji Naka. He went from Sega to Square Enix because he was the head designer he was at least one of the main guys. I want to say director for Balan Wonderworld.
Yep.
Remember that dumpster fire?
Yes, I do.
But then there was a huge myth between him and Square Enix about him not getting enough money, but then the fact that he's committing crimes and he got arrested again, it's just hilarious. And that wasn't just him. According to the article from Polygon, 2 other Square Enix employees were arrested a day earlier for the same charges.
Insider trading for Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic would be so disappointed.
Yeah. But yeah, so he got arrested, and that is just goddamn okay.
Is a Gun? Is that the company Gun?
Yeah.
He got taken in by Gun.
Yeah, so those are the main news stories that I want to talk about, or wanted to talk about.
Lovely.
Cool.
Last quarter of news. Well, I think it's time to talk about all the games we've been playing.
All right, sounds good.
Video games.
All right. Well, we're gonna start because we've all been playing a bunch of different games, but also a lot of our lists are the same games. But we're gonna start with Sparks' list, and we're just gonna jump in and talk about the first game that was on your list, my friend. What is it? What is this one?
It's the Disney Mirrorverse, the mobile game. That's still there. You're not going to see anything new with this footage necessarily, but
this is just like a trailer.
No, I was going to say there's no good trailer out for the characters that they've added, but importantly during this last quarter came Kermit, who's a bard. He messes people up with his banjo playing.
Oh, hey.
They did their own design on Kermit, which I thought was great. They also, at the same time, added Raya, which makes a lot of sense. Olaf, the Beast, Peter Pan, and Cusco have all come to the game at this point.
Cusco?
Yes.
Is he a llama?
Huh?
Is he a llama?
No, he comes in as his emperor form.
Okay.
But he's pretty cool. They've done a lot of good stuff. Like the design work on this game is exceptional.
I played it when it initially came out for a few months, and then I dropped it. But it's a good game.
Yeah. I don't feel the need to do daily check-ins. I can, but I don't feel the need to. I don't feel like I'm punished by the game for not doing it.
Yeah.
So I check in for like the new character stuff. I'm trying to work my way up and leveling up some characters so I can take on the higher level events. There hasn't been a new big like event expansion in the story yet.
Yeah.
I imagine that's coming after they roll out some more characters that they've been wanting to get out. So probably sometime I think this year there will be a new story, big increase thing. But it's pretty good. Like it still remains a well-designed, I think, thoughtful Disney game. I think arguably the best of this style of Disney mobile stuff. They've done other things like Sorcerer's Arena and other things that have been trying to capture the same kind of mode of Disney characters fighting each other. And I think that this one remains the best.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I know Ben's been interested in it, but I don't think he's picked it up yet.
No, I have actually. When I was back in July, when I was homesick with COVID, I was playing Mirrorverse a lot actually.
Nice.
And I really did enjoy it. I just got to a part where I was stuck where my characters weren't as strong as they could be. Where it's like, hey, you can grind. It's either do you want to grind or do you want to just pay money to level up?
Can you find a Kermit?
I just kind of stopped, but I will admit the designs of Mirrorverse are very good, and it's really this game is really nice. It's really like all the designs for all the characters are well done, and I really love how they take the classic Disney characters and shift them in a way that makes it like it fits, but at the same time it makes it so it's like I could see these characters duke it out in an alternate universe, this is what this is. Oh my god, that's awesome. Kermit's wielding his banjo like a battle axe. That's hilarious.
I love Kermit so much. He was probably the biggest surprise. I just didn't expect him to come to the game last year. Or ever, generally. But Kermit's a treat, a delight. Made me like reinvest in it in a big way. And they made them all... They really capture the personalities of these characters very well. So I was very impressed with it. Yeah.
Love it.
I wanted to highlight that most importantly about Mirrorverse. It's still out there, still kicking. It's a mobile game I still think is worth doing. I hope that we've talked about like Final Fantasy Ever Crisis coming out and stuff like that. I hope that system feels as good as the kind of like maneuverability of the battle system to this kind of mobile game.
Yeah.
Not that it has to be the same, but I hope it feels as good.
Oh yeah, the designs in this game are so good.
Oh yeah, definitely. I remember when like action figures for some of these characters came out. I was like, what the hell?
Dude, they had the action figures for like the first wave out for like a year and a half before the game released. They were so pumped about these designs. I honestly hope they release an action figure of this Kermit because I would buy this Kermit as an action figure. I absolutely would.
Are they still releasing action figures?
They haven't released anything past the first wave.
Nah, boo.
Yeah.
Wave after wave.
Those are cool action. Those are cool action figures. I kind of want one for myself, actually.
Yeah.
I love that he does the arm wave thing. That's fantastic.
I do like the Sully and Buzz Lightyear ones they have.
Oh.
They look really good.
Oh yeah, I was using Sully on my team for a long time.
Yeah. My current team is Buzz Lightyear, Tiana, and the Genie.
Oh yeah, I was using Scar for the longest time.
I had Rapunzel. I was leveling her up, and she just beats the crap out of people with her frying pan. I think it's great.
Yeah, I use Genie as a tank, and Buzz Lightyear's my range, and Tiana's my healer.
Merida's my range.
Yeah.
Speaking of games featuring tons of characters from a franchise, why don't we talk about multiverses?
Multiverses. Now, Ben, you still haven't really jumped into this one either, correct?
Not really.
That's okay. Hey, the longer you wait, just the more characters there are.
That's
the more
so
fun
true.
to be had.
I think what I wanted to spotlight about this is I haven't gotten to play this as much as I wish I had in the back half of the year, to be honest. Because I more often than not find myself wanting to play with like you or anyone else who's playing, like Marty, our friend.
Yeah.
So that means that I didn't get to like really feel the full weight of what was available, but I did really enjoy the holiday variants that came out towards the end of the year. They were really impressive skins. I really liked
Yeah,
them.
both the Halloween and the Christmas skins.
Yeah.
Were insane,
Yeah.
beautiful, spooky and holiday, beautiful themed, all within months of each other.
Yeah.
Very expensive. You really got to earn them. You really got to play a lot to earn them.
Right.
But you could earn them, which was nice.
Yeah, I really love the design of the game. It continues to be awesome. It's just wanting to play with friends more than just like wanting to fight other people and usually get my butt kicked.
Yeah, and
Because I moved away from it a little too much.
And if if this is the first time watching it quarterly, or you haven't heard us talk about it, or you don't know much about multiverses, it is a Super Smash Brothers clone, but it is the absolute best version of one of these I've ever played.
Absolutely.
The gameplay is top notch. It feels great to play, and the thing that is so incredible about the game is that every character feels like who they should be and have the moves that they should have in a type of fighting game like this, and they're all unique. Every character is unique and does not feel like any other character. The moveset is incredibly creative. I still think Tom and Jerry is like maybe the most creative fighting game character in history for real. Because Tom and Jerry are fighting each other in the match. They're not even like in the match themselves, like they are, but like they are fighting each other. So whenever Tom goes to hit Jerry, you hit like Batman. And Jerry's trying to run away. It's incredible. It's really fun. And it looks great. I think again we mentioned earlier the battle pass is great. Every character that they add is super fun and weird. Like I never thought LeBron James would be such a fun character to play. But like they added Marvin the Martian recently. He's really cool. They got like Rick and Morty and like Shazam, Black Adam, Wonder Woman, all the DC folk.
Oh my gosh, I wonder now that I think about it if they're gonna go in and have Rick and Morty redubbed by whoever the new person will be.
Yeah, in the future, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure that'll be an easy fix. Yeah. But yeah, Multiverses is a great game, and I know people love it. It's definitely a big hit in like the not Evo, but in the esports scene. Because it's a real fighting game. Like it feels real great. It's just as good as Smash Brothers, honestly.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't think I've ever turned around harder on a game from like hearing about it to playing it.
From announcement to playing it.
Than this, where I thought this was like this is the worst, most garbage thing I've ever heard of, and then it comes out and it's like, oh my god, it's exceptionally thoughtful about all of its IP and it plays good.
Yeah, and like, and the thought and like the love of all of Warner Brothers, like you got Shagsworth, who was like Shaggy's uncle as a character, and you have like the black suited Superman and like Russian Batman from Red Sun, like all these great little things, and like Arya Stark's a character that you can play as, and it's voiced by Maisie Williams, thank you, and she plays great. Like it's just such a love letter to Warner Brothers and their IP. In a year where Warner Brothers is going through some really bad shit.
Yeah.
in a year where Looney Tunes gets 300 of its cartoons cut, you got Bugs Bunny just kicking Superman's ass in this great fighting game.
That's true.
Yeah, and also in this game's specifically, Kevin Conroy is also immortalized.
Yeah, and the fun thing is like you can pick any of the characters to be the voice for like going to the map and like choose your character and all that. So like you can have Superman or Batman, or you can have like zombie Superman just going like rah, and like that's just really fun. It's a stupid and fun. Great game, and one of the best like free to play models you could have in a game.
Very true. I agree.
Well, next on your list, my friend Sparks. It's a game we all love to play.
It's Fortnite.
Yeah.
Boy, talk about a game we all did not like to play when it first came out, and then switched so hard we've all spent probably hundreds of dollars at this point on the game.
I wouldn't say hundreds.
Do you have the Fortnite Battle Pass?
I do.
Then that's $15 a month. That means
definitely done
you are
it.
absolutely.
It's 11. Thank you. It's
Okay.
11.
Okay.
You've definitely spent at least
At least
150.
100.
Listen, I'm just saying. We've all done it, and I'm happy about it. Like you give me a good service, and I will gladly pay money for it.
So a lot has happened in Fortnite since the last time we checked in, but like the most recent stuff is the addition of the My Hero characters, the completely new map, brand spanking new, not the other side of the island, but a completely reassembled island.
Unreal Engine 5.
Unreal Engine 5, so the game looks incredible.
One of the best looking games ever, for real.
The game looks so good. It's so crisp, it's so clear. And it's legitimately a fun game to play. I remember, I was so so not into Fortnite when this came out. Like I told you guys, I tried it, I did not like it, and then Fortnite just blew up in popularity. I became one of those old guys. Is like, oh, you dang Cajun, you're Fortnite doing them Fortnite dances. Now it's just like, no, I play Fortnite. Fortnite's effing fun.
It really is.
I was 100% the same way, and like, and there was no real reason except for like it was popular and the kids were playing it. But like, it became so popular because it's a great game. It started like, I'm not a big fan of the building, which is again one of the reasons I love this newer season, because there's no more building. You don't need it.
Yeah.
But like every single update is iterative, and it updates on it, and it makes things better, or it changes things that for the better. It never feels regressive.
Yes.
It always feels like they're adding something for the better. And now we're at a point where like it's almost like a different game for the better.
Funny enough, I think right now is the only time when they've made a change that I'm like, these are changes I don't like, which is right now what we're dealing with is I don't like the new our weekly event quests are kind of like more standard than they usually are. And they're a little boring.
The Oathbound ones?
No, the non-Oathbound ones, the ones we're getting regularly,
okay.
every week.
Oh,
They're
the ones where
like,
it's like shoot dudes.
Yeah, they're much more plain than the weeklies usually used to be.
I'll agree with that.
And the other thing is that they, for some reason I can't possibly fathom, they remove the ability to change your look without going back to the lobby after
true.
a match is over.
Yeah.
Which is a change I hope does not stick around.
I wonder if that was like a weird like just like a bug that they couldn't fix, because sometimes they remove features like the sand tunneling a couple seasons ago and stuff like that.
So we'll hopefully
I love the sand tunneling.
Hopefully that'll come back around. I know I'm not the only person who feels like that the weekly events this season are kind of mid.
Yes.
To take Ben's word, but also that the not having the ability to change your outfit from the ready up screen is disappointing to fans. So I think Fortnite's pretty good at listening to them. I imagine these things will be rectified in the near future. But otherwise, really enjoying the season. The addition of the hammer for this season has been exceptional.
They brought back bows.
The hammer is good. I also like the augmentations that you can do.
Yes, the augmentations. Great new mechanic.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're 100% random, and they give you buffs throughout as the longer you survive in your match. And I'm pretty sure a few augmentations have saved me, like where I could reload my rifle faster.
Oh yeah.
Or hide in a bush and heal.
I love.
Feels really good.
I love the balloons so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely, and also crossplay, because I was able to play this with my friend Jeff when he was home for the holidays. And we just popped on Discord, or we just called each other, put each other on speakerphone, and we were just talking through that, and we were playing together and having an amazing time.
It is incredible that you can play this on Xbox, on PlayStation, on the Switch, on PC, on your phone, and all of us can play together, and it's the exact same experience. And it's still a hardcore, rock solid experience. I can't believe that.
Now, this is definitely one of those games where Epic has definitely turned a live service model, but they made it into, it's like, no, and even if you don't show up, like if you don't play for a little while, you still get good shit. Or you could still have chances to at least earn those battle point stars and get the rewards of the battle pass.
I think very importantly, like why Fortnite works as a live service model is because the game is functionally what you make of it with what they give you. And so like you decide what kind of game you're going in to play. Like, are you going to focus on event quests? Are you going to go try kill the boss that they put into the map? Are you going to go play with the new stuff in an area? Are you going to try and really screw with other people? All these kinds of things. Are you just kind of going to wing it with your friends? Are you going to, all this kind of stuff. And so the game is what you make of it. And I think that really works. And not every live service game can do that. Not every game can do that.
And I think it is one of the few examples where like having the robust amount of IP that they have means that it's accessible to anybody, literally anybody. Like if you might not like it's different if you don't like the gameplay, but if you like shooters, I think this is a really good shooter, right?
I am having so much fun playing as the Doom guy.
Oh yeah.
Outside of Doom. And if like whenever I win or whenever a loading screen we're waiting to go to the island, playing Master of Puppets.
Yeah.
I think that's just so awesome to do.
It's like it's everything. It is ever consuming in a way that like that I don't feel that's bad, in a way that in other ways, in other like mediums or under different execution could feel really predatory. But it is just skins. You are just like, hey, do you want to look like someone from your favorite TV show? Just give us a couple bucks and you can do that. And that is all it's ever been. And that's what's so successful about it.
You don't have to pay money to get better guns. You find them. You don't have to pay money to get better. You do that with practice.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay money to play the game. It's like, look, your character's gonna look bland. If you want the fancy stuff, you gotta pony up the money.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's really it. Like if someone has access to like an internet connection or a phone, and this is the only game they can play, and it's the only video game they have access to because their wallet's so tight. This is a fantastic experience. I mean, yeah, it's probably a bummer seeing like, hey, buy the battle pass to do this. It's like, I can't do that, but I can at least still do the thing I came here to do, which is play a video game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And speaking of that, Ben, like if you are broke, and like I think Fortnite, like it's $12 for the battle pass, right? Like the amount of updates this game gets, which is sometimes like
it's I want to clarify, it's $12 if you're doing the monthly subscription service.
Yeah.
It's 30 if you're buying the battle pass at bulk.
Oh, that's expensive.
Yeah. Because you're buying it for like the whole month's run of the battle pass. We pay a smaller fee because we're doing the Fortnite crew, which is a monthly payment. Mm-hmm. So it's baked into that instead and broken down by months. But if you are buying the lump sum battle pass without signing up for the crew membership, then yeah, it's about $30.
That's why you just want to get that.
But that's like 3 months of play.
Yeah, that's why you want to get that battle pass though, and you get stuff with it. But like the amount of updates that Fortnite gives you, sometimes it's like multiple times a week. Where it's like, because again, this game is so successful, like there are millions of people playing this game every day. They need to be on top of their bugs and their servers. So it is always being updated. It is always like, they're always on top of it. So like, I always feel like no matter when I play this game, like they're always looking out for me. Like I don't have to worry about like waiting 6 months for this shitty bug to get fixed. Like if something's wrong with the game, you can almost guarantee that by tomorrow it will be fixed.
Right.
Which is not something any other game can say.
And the quality of life, the dirt bikes. The dirt bikes are a great new addition. The quality of life just keeps getting better. The visuals are incredible. The character models are exceptional. With the Unreal Engine, it's just what a treat to play at this point. I'm so glad we were already into it before this point happened so that we can really be like, wow, I appreciate this so much. There's so many times playing this new season where I've been like, this is just incredibly pretty.
Yeah. Every time we drop down, I look at like the fidelity of all the trees, and I'm like, man, I can see every single leaf. That is a good looking cartoon tree.
Right.
That is.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Fortnite continues to be a great time with friends.
Speaking of good time with friends, how about a game you play solo?
How about a game I play by myself? So Godzilla Battle Line is not a new game. It's been out for a little over a year, but it is a game I discovered in this last quarter due to like other Godzilla fans talking about it a lot on Twitter and that kind of thing. And I was like, I've been hurting for a fun Godzilla game. And what I like about Battle Line is that you have to do a lot of strategy with how you lay out your monsters. It's all about knowing the patterns of what they do, who's ranged, who isn't, and how to counter those things. It has 2 main modes of play, which is rank battle and then events. Events take place they start about halfway through the month and they go to the end of the month, and that's every month cycle. And the events are interesting because the events make it so that you have access to every single thing in the game, but that also means that they're at whatever level you would have them at. So you can play with a thing you don't own, but that means it's at its lowest level.
Yeah.
But it's a way for you to engage with those things, kind of learn things about them, mess with them. It gives you like a lot of rewards for playing through events and for mastering events and just conquering each level of an event, which it gets increasingly harder. But like the base level of like the first 20 chapters in an event are always like pretty passable. So it's a lot of good room for you to try out things. And it's really rewarding because then once you actually make those things part of your deck, you have a better idea of what they do and what to prioritize. I'm going to work on like leveling this thing up first, because as the things get higher in level, it's much harder to level them up. You need more game pieces to do so. So you have to be really thoughtful about what is working for my strategy best. What do I want to feature the most?
That makes sense.
And there's just there is a lot of love for the entire franchise on here. You're seeing right there in this video, if you're watching, it's the Neon Genesis Evangelion skin color was on the screen for Kiru, the Mechagodzilla from the Tokyo SOS. That is the purple and green skin because they did an Ava event right around the time that I decided to hop in, which is great. So the Unit 1 is in here, the 5th Angel is in here. The Shin Ultraman event also happened last year, and so there's Shin Ultraman characters all over the place. They are a great time to play. The video we're watching did a lot of editing visually, so I just want to say, like, the screen doesn't, like, jitter and move as much
this
as
is, like, the longest
happening.
video.
No, for sure, I get it. So it's really, really cool, and there's just, like, a lot of deep cuts to the lore, a lot of really cute references and things like that. The train from Shin Godzilla, the train bomb, is an attack that you have, so the two trains will appear on tracks and come straight at a monster that you put it on, which is just a great nod. There's so many things that function exactly as they do in the franchise. It's just really, really well thought out.
Yeah, the game wasn't for me, but that's mostly because I play so many other games. Like this, it wasn't enough for me to want to continue playing, because, like, I like Godzilla, but not as much as my friends over here do. And I was like, how long do I have to play to get Evangelion? Just a little too much for me.
Right.
But it is definitely, like, again, much like a multiverse, is like the love of the Toho monsters is there. And there's so many things, and then when she showed me the Shin Godzilla bomb, I'm like, that's just creative. That's just a creative thing.
Yeah. I think it's a well-designed game. I think they've got it very balanced. I think that strategy is important, and that shows, I think, how well they've thought through every single piece they add in, because you have to really think about, what are my monsters capable of? How can they counter, like, especially if you come up against, like, you want to have a pretty balanced team, because some people will prioritize almost all flying monsters, because every once in a while someone else will have prioritized almost all monsters that can't do anything to flying, and then they're just wiped. So you want to have, like, a good balance of being able to deal with whatever's thrown at you. Because that was definitely a mistake I learned early on, is I didn't realize I was sitting with a deck that had, like, one monster that could deal with flying, and I'm like, oh, this is a mistake.
Yeah, you gotta build your deck better.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a lot of, like, trial and error, but I find it a very rewarding experience. It is one that I do feel puts a lot of pressure on to, like, either play every day or spend money on it.
Oh yeah.
And I will admit that I think, like, that part of it is kind of a bummer, that feels like, just because, like, to level up your monsters, it either takes a lot of work or it takes a lot of, like, buying coins to do so.
Yeah.
And I think that is a little tough. I don't like the gacha mechanics of it, but I still think the game is really well thought out. I think it's the best Godzilla mobile game that I've played, and I've played a few.
Yeah.
I think this is the most well thought out of all of them.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Moving on from Godzilla to more Godzilla.
So Gigabash came out. We've talked about this.
Oh, I want to play this so bad.
Because we said this looks really great. Like Power Stone mixed with the old school Godzilla melee and that kind of
the GameCube ones.
Yeah, exactly. So Gigabash came out. It came out to really great reviews, really wonderful reception, and I was hearing about it. And then on top of hearing about that, at about the same time, I was hearing that, oh, we're getting Godzilla DLC. And because I found out about that, I was like, oh, snap, okay, I gotta download this. So I jumped in on Gigabash when it went on a quick sale. And it is a ton of fun. The way that you work with environments, yes, we got the Godzilla characters. The Godzilla characters are Godzilla, really refreshingly, Gigan, Destroya, and Mechagodzilla. I was shocked that Ghidorah wasn't in there, but pleasantly surprised.
I love Destroya.
Destroya is awesome.
Look how big he is compared to the snail.
All of the characters have been realized incredibly well. So he's in his Giga form, because all the kaiju in Gigabash, they start. You can by doing damage and collecting things around the environment.
Oh,
you'll power up and transform into a more large and powerful version of yourself, and they can do that too if they collect enough things.
I love Gigan.
Gigan's awesome.
I love you, Gigan.
He has exceptional moves. I think also all their original kaiju are really fun. I've dabbled with most of them. They're really cool. They've really thought through a lot of fun stuff to this.
Real quick, is there a kaiju movie coming out this year?
Yeah, the new Godzilla is supposed to come out this year.
Okay, we're gonna have a month, a basement arcade month, where we play all the monster games, because I have War for the Monsters on my PlayStation. We got Gigabash. I can definitely get a Godzilla game on my PC. Yeah. I want to play all these games because this looks awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited to get you guys into Gigabash. This certainly, like, we've threatened a lot that we want to do, like, a fight night focused gameplay basement arcade,
yeah.
And Gigabash would definitely be on that list, because it is so well crafted for a kaiju fighting game. It's so well thought out. The way that you interact with environments, it's fun. It's funny. The way that these characters are designed and the way that the story rolls out.
You Team Rocket them away. That's awesome.
It's such a good time. And they brought so much love to the Godzilla characters that I think is just exceptionally
I love his
cool.
horn sword.
Yes, and then Destroy brings out his little destroyers and everything. It's so good. And people are correct. Like as a fan of Power Stone, feeling that sense of like the way you move around the environment in terms of the camera, I really feel it and I love it. Those original kaiju again, you'll probably see some of them still here in the video.
Love
they're so cool. The dynamics of play are so solid.
Oh my god, his snail back turns into a mouth.
Yes,
That's wicked.
yes. So all of it's just a really good time. You have to be really thinking about the different environments because a lot of different things can happen. Like a volcano can erupt and really change what's happening on the environment. A river can flood. All kinds of different things can occur to make you have to rethink what you're doing on the environment.
It's not Ultraman.
It's not Ultraman, but it's
Not
Ultraman.
Jet Jaguar.
Yeah, it's a ton of fun. I'm very pleased that this exists. I'm very pleased that it's being received so well. And so the Godzilla update only came out just a little bit ago. There are more updates to come, which means we're gonna get more kaiju. Maybe some licensed, maybe some not, but like it's going to be worth it. I think in the next like 2 years, this is going to be a really beefed up roster fighting game and a ton of fun to play. It's I'm excited to play it with friends because that's the only thing I haven't really done with it yet.
Yeah, this game looks sick as hell.
Ben, we can't hear you. Ben, any thoughts on Gigabash?
Yeah, I just wishlisted it. I remember that this one the trailers for this game coming out, and I wanted it because it looks great. It's like a kaiju fighting game, and now because I was like, man, too bad they didn't get the Godzilla license. Well, now that they did, Godzilla looks awesome, and I'm like, and I was looking up on the PlayStation app on my phone, and the base game is like $35, and the Godzilla pack is $10. So $45 for a whole game plus the DLC is actually not that bad if you think about it.
Yeah, it's an indie game, so it's not $70 base.
No. Yeah, I think it's very fairly priced for what you're getting, to be honest. Yeah. And I think it's worth it if this is something you want to play. And I'm super excited for like definitely sometime later this year we'll all play it together. I think it'll be a ton of fun. Yeah. It's devastatingly cool.
I remember you saying that it was on sale during the holiday season, and I kind of kicking myself that I missed buying it because I did see it's like, oh, cool, Gigabash, I gotta get that game, and I missed it. So hopefully this game will go on sale again sometime in the future.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it will. But it's on my wish list, and actually, I do have a PlayStation Plus gift card that I got for my birthday that I need to use. So
well, there you go.
There we go.
So right around the time that the Godzilla stuff came out, they did say that they're very excited for the stuff they want to bring in 2023. So I have no idea what that's going to be, but I'm very excited about it.
Gamera.
There's implication that there are going to be more licensed characters, but also I think we're going to get some more original stuff from them as well.
I love it.
Yeah, me too.
Speaking of liking it. Oh god, it's time. So
oh my god.
So Sparks,
yeah,
you have Marvel Snap on your list. Real quick, if you're watching the video version, this is a YouTuber I love to watch named Snapster. He's a fantastic. Oop, I didn't mean to do that. He's a fantastic streamer. So we're just gonna watch one of his games while we talk over it. Marvel Snap, Sparks.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, like I'm playing it, but you're the king of it. It's very funny because Marvel Snap came out about the same time that I discovered Godzilla Battle Line, so I kind of got wrapped into two mobile games at the same time.
Yeah.
And one dominated me more than the other, but it doesn't mean that I've loved this one any less. I think Marvel Snap is exceptionally cool. It's super well thought out. It feels so good to play. We got dogs going off. Okay, but it's a really, really, really good card game. And it's so simple and so easy to pick up. I've had friends who just love card games, but aren't like Marvel obsessed. They're Marvel familiar, like they watch the MCU, but that's about it. And they're knowing all these new characters from the comics and everything because they are very into this card game.
Yeah,
you go for it.
It is exceptional. Like, it is truly an exceptional video game / card game. Like, if this were made just into, like, if this were Marvel's card game, it would be, like, my new favorite card game. But the fact that it's digital, they put so much love and care into each of the cards. They're all voiced. They all have animations. Every time you upgrade your card, it gets a new look, a new animation style. It breaks out of the border, so it's 3D. And then there's like prestiges. So you max it out all the way, and then you get a new version of it that looks different that you can max out to get a new version of it. So like it makes you want to upgrade the cards you love. It has, if you love comic book art, it has all the art that you'd want. It has so many different variants. The progression system for a battle pass game is incredible. It's a $10 battle pass, and the season lasts for like a couple months. And you get cool cards, you get great variants. It gives you tons of stuff. So like you are getting new cards by buying in, but it's only one. It's like it is the season pass like card. And then you can build like decks around it. And again, if you don't have that specific card, it's not like you're worse at the game. It's just one card in an infinite amount of cards. Not infinite, but there's hundreds of cards. It is six turns, and you get 1 energy per turn. There are some cards that let you get more or less, but it is a 6-turn game. So you can play a game in 1 to 3 minutes. It's incredibly fast, but every game can feel like life or death because of how quick it is. You could be winning a game so hard, in turn 5, and then one card will ruin your entire life in turn 6. Mm-hmm. And it is so fast and so good, and there's so much synergy between the cards. There's so much like attack and defense that you can do. You can build decks around the craziest combos that you would never think possible. It is the most simplified version of something like a Magic or a Hearthstone, something like that. The guys who made Hearthstone, one of them came over to make this game, and it shows. But it is just so well made, and the fact that it is Marvel, my bread and butter, it's incredible, and like it just, all the updates are great. They keep adding new cards, also for free, and you don't have to spend a single cent if you don't want to, and you will still unlock tons and tons of stuff. Again, you are paying for mostly variants and like one seasonal card. Which I do believe you actually can earn later randomly through the collection process after the season's over.
I'm pretty sure that's true.
Yeah, so it is a really, really well-designed Battle Pass system game that I really love. I play it almost every day. The variants rotate out every day, so you have to earn gold to buy these variants. And there's at least always one that I really, really want to get. It's so good. I'm thinking about streaming it myself soon, just because I love playing it, and like it's so fun. And it's like every single 3-minute match feels just as good as a 20-minute card game. I love it so much. So great.
Yeah,
Ben, you got to get on it, because they're introducing the PvP mode soon, where you can play against our friends, and like I just want to play everyone all the time, everywhere, everything all at once.
I don't ever want to play you.
Listen, the great thing about it is like I have like 15 decks that I've made just so far. I don't know how many. I hope you can have 99, but you can make so many types of variant decks where like I make decks that aren't particularly well made, but they're like themed in a way that are like an X-Men deck. Like the X-Men themselves don't synergize well, but I have a deck full of X-Men cards because I want one of those. So I'll play that deck just to play it, and I won't win often, but I get to play with all my homies, and that makes me happy. So like, everything's possible. I just won't use the best deck that has Wong, because Wong is the best character in that game.
Yeah, I'm really thrilled that this is here. I think it's just a very, very good game. My favorite thing about it, to be honest, is the fact that like it's a mobile kind of, they want you to engage with a daily card game, but they don't make you feel like you're punished for not.
Yeah.
And they don't make you feel like you have to pay to win.
And pay
to play.
Yeah, and all the dailies are relative, like they're the seasonal quests, which are a lot harder, just like in any like game that like they want you to play it for a long time to earn the big stuff. But the daily quests are like play one cost cards, play 5 1-cost cards. That's hella easy. Like play win a location with all 4 cards at a location.
Right.
That's all of them are really easy to do. So like it incentivizes you to play like, hey, we know these are easy to get. You knock them out, we'll give you a bunch of stuff, and come back tomorrow and do it again. And again, the gameplay is so good, I don't mind doing that. I will never mind doing that.
Right.
This game is so good, and it started at like a 9. I don't know how it can get any better. Like it just like, and much like a Fortnite, like they will find ways because it started at a great spot. So yeah, Marvel Snap. Let's snap into the next game we're going to talk about. Marvel, still worth the Marvel games, baby. Marvel Uno Ultimate.
Yeah. So this is really cool.
Yes.
And I'm really excited about it. So my wife bought this on a whim, and what it is that you're playing Uno, but the way they've designed it is that everybody has their own individual decks. So you are playing as your character and with your character's deck. So like you choose to be Black Panther or Thor or Captain Marvel or Iron Man. And then you are playing Uno, but there's also a danger deck that is created out of your collective decks. And that danger deck has these obstacles and opponents that are catered to your character and the other characters at the table. So you're not supposed to mix in like danger cards from other decks because it might unbalance the game. They've made it so that it works in tandem very well. So there's a lot of good give and take between what can happen randomly in the game and what won't. And so you never feel like you're being unfairly treated. It's a fairly well balanced game.
Ben, have you played? I know you've played Uno. Have you played the game Here to Slay?
Yeah, I have. I love Here to Slay. It's one of my I introduced Sparks to that game actually.
This game is Uno meets Here to Slay because you are fighting enemies. Not that that's like the core to the game, but that is one of the things you're fighting enemies because they hurt you if you don't beat them up. It's kind of like
It's basically the same way you play Uno to win. The only thing is now because you have your own personal deck, part of what happens because of the enemies and other players in the game is that you end up doing what's called burning through your character deck. So instead of getting to play the cards, you're having to get rid of how many cards you have to pull from. And if you run out of your personal deck, you're out of the game. So yeah, it's really, really cool. There's a lot of fun angles they've taken to incorporate the powers of the heroes or the villains and what they do. They've really made each deck feel like it's catering to what you're doing. Like, and it's really cool.
When I was playing with a bunch of people, somebody was playing as a Scarlet Witch, and one of her cool abilities is like, okay, you can only play odd number cards this round until it comes back to me, or you can only play wild cards. You can only do this. To really like mess with people and like make them have to draw cards or stuff like that. While I was playing as Iron Man, every time we did a specific thing, you would have to burn a card. So you would go through your deck really, really fast. So like there are really cool character specific abilities. And like while just playing Uno, you're still just doing the color thing and wild and +4 reverse skip, but like there's a fun flair to it now.
Yeah, so this just came out last year in 2022. They have already added several expansion add-on decks. So there are the core 4 we've already talked about here: Captain Marvel, Iron Man, Black Panther, Thor. They've also added Miles Morales, Peter Parker, She-Hulk, Doctor Strange, Scarlet Witch, and Miss Marvel.
Yes.
Next year, we do know our next ones. They are releasing a second 4-core pack, just like this initial starting one, that contains Captain America, Black Widow, Hulk, and Shuri.
Nice.
Yes, so it's really, really cool. I highly recommend, if you're a fan of Uno and a fan of Marvel, this is a great I think this is the most inventive new take on how to mess with Uno.
Yeah.
Rather than just like adding in a new rule, it's really changed the way that the game functions. But once you get it, it's pretty easy to pick up and just go.
Yeah.
All right. Definitely looks interesting. I'll have to give this a shot.
Yeah. I'm excited for you to play it, Ben.
So I know. So the next game, I know. Well, we won't be putting a skip card on. It's called God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah. So I'll say, like, I can't say a ton here because I'm still in the midst of playing this game. You two have already beaten it and released a review on this channel.
It's been arcade available if you want the full spoilers take. But like, we want our friend Sparks to talk about it still.
Yeah, and I'll probably by the time we do our next quarterly, I'll have finished the game for sure. So I will give my like final thoughts on it in a quick, non-spoilery way. Mm-hmm. I really, really like it. God of War's awesome.
How far are you in?
I am probably I think it's like 14, 15 hours now.
Okay.
And I've reached the point where like Ryan and I have talked about this off the podcast where I am agreeing with him that I think they've crammed too much narrative into this game. While I am enjoying a lot of it, I think that the pacing of it has slipped away from them a bit. And I wish that, from what I'm understanding and what I'm already feeling, that they had left this as a trilogy rather than trying to slam 2 games into one, which I imagine is much the take of others from just talking with you and then knowing you guys did your review. Mm-hmm. But I still think it's an incredibly fun game to play. I'm super engaged with it. I love the world. I love the narrative. The gameplay's still rocking. Yep. I really like the stuff we've done with Atreus. getting to play as Atreus. That's a small spoiler, but like when you get to play as Atreus, I think they've done a lot of really inventive things that I'm enjoying doing. But the narrative stuff is what I'm coming here for, and I think the narrative stuff has still been working for me so far and driving me to keep playing the story as much as I have been. Do you guys want to say anything about your experience with God of War Ragnarok?
I'm sure.
Just
well, here's the thing.
to the
I'm sure there are some people who either haven't played it or haven't finished it, who haven't watched our review, who might still like our impressions. So like, it is a game I really enjoy. But like when I look at it right next to 2018's God of War, I'm like, for me, I was hoping for more of a sequel as opposed to just an iterative next step, because. I think I made the mistake of playing God of War for a couple hours on PS5, the 2018 with the 60 FPS 4K, because God of War now looks like Ragnarok does. So now I have that original game with the looks of Ragnarok. So like I got that perfect game, and I think this game's trying to do a little too much. And I do think it is a detriment to try to finish the saga in one game because it pushes and pulls in all the wrong directions. How I feel.
I absolutely love this game. I absolutely adore this game. I will say the beginning is a little bit slow, but once the narrative starts cooking and you just keep going and it is a constant roller coaster. It does not stop. The more realms I unlocked, the more I got to explore was fantastic. Even the post game stuff is still very fun. It's very this is a meaty game. There is a lot of stuff going on in this game.
Oh yeah.
And I absolutely adore it. I do think that maybe this turning into a trilogy instead of a duology would have benefited greatly, but I still love this game. I still had a fantastic time playing this game, and we did a whole review on it. Definitely go check that out. But man, this game's so much fun, guys.
It is.
It was like, yeah, I'm back. I'm back in God of War, baby.
Yeah, it still leaves me with that itch to want to keep playing it and go back. So, there's obviously still good stuff working here.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we're going to leave the fantasy realm behind, and we're going to go to the future.
Future.
All right, so a free-to-play game came out while we were away for this quarter, and I finally got Ben to sit down and play a little bit with me. And so we've played a couple matches of Gundam Evolution.
How is Gundam Overwatch?
Steep. It is a steep learning curve.
Really?
Yes. Because every model of Gundam, as it rightly should be, is totally unique. It takes a lot of you need to spend some time figuring out who do you want to be and what do you want to do, and then hoping that you have that character when you get in the match. And specialize in what you can specialize, and even then there's a lot of the other players are tough, and they already know what they're doing, or they've already unlocked Gundams that you haven't, that are devastating.
Like the Unicorn Gundam.
Yes, exactly, like the Unicorn Gundam. It's really, really cool though. I really like, for a free-to-play game, the thoughtfulness and love on display for the Gundam franchise, even with my limited knowledge, is clearly impressive, because they've really thought through every single individual Gundam, how it should look, how it should move, what it should do, what its abilities should be. And it's sending up so much love and references to the franchise. It's hard not to want to love this game. I won't say I'm there. I want to be, but I need to get better at it.
This looks kind of like a Transformers multiplayer game, if I'm being honest, because the dude just turned into a jet.
Yeah. That's the Gundam that releases the gun tank.
Or for Cybertron.
The gun tank, yeah.
It's really, really cool. I think if you actually pull up the Evolution intro, it'll actually go through every single unit that's available in the game at this moment. It's so cool that they've done this. It's very, very well thought out. I think that it's just a matter of that, not that the game is failing me, but I'm failing the game right now, and I need to get find my right mode and get it mastered.
The right character.
And then I'll be okay. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, just like any character action game, you got to find the right one that fits you.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we were playing this, I was like, this feels a lot like Gundam Overwatch, and I'm not saying that as a bad thing.
Yeah.
But definitely that first match that Sparks and I were into, it was rough. It was rough, and then I finally got to play as the RX-78 too, like the original Mobile Suit Gundam, And I was like, okay, I'm getting better. I'm doing better at this, but I'm probably gonna play a few more matches. Definitely play a few more matches with Sparks. See if this is because this is a free to play downloadable game. It doesn't cost anything to play it, but it does cost to you have to either grind or spend money to get the level ups you need to unlock certain mobile suits like the Unicorn Gundam, the Exia.
Yeah, and it has a battle pass system.
Yeah, there's a battle pass system to it.
Yeah. Again, like a kind of similar to Multiverses, so like it's a pretty good model that there's a decent chunk of free and then paid benefits. Your free benefits are a lower tier, but they're still there. And it makes me want to invest in it. So I'm hoping that'll pay off later this year because I really want to love it. I want to love it.
Yeah. Me too.
Speaking of love, Sparks, that's the end of your section.
It is the end of my section.
Speaking of love, Ben. You know what? You could put it up too. He put only 25 hours in, only the length of full length games in Elden Ring, but he could put the ring.
It was still my game of the year as well.
Hell yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. What have we not said about Elden Ring that has been said?
I think about it every day.
Yeah. Elden Ring it's fantastic. Sparks you can't see it, but Sparks gifted me the Books of Knowledge Volume 1, the strategy guide for Elden Ring, and just even flipping through that, I'm like, I kind of want to pop Elden Ring again. There was a gentleman at my work who just got a PS5, and we were talking about PlayStation, and he was like, oh, what do you recommend? What do you recommend? And the first thing I said was Elden Ring.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, if you get Elden Ring, let me know. I'll play it with you. There's co-op. You can get the co-op right out of the gate, and I can play with you. We can explore the lands between together. I'll be leveled down, so it's not so you can still get a challenge. And I'm just like, and just like talking with him about possibly going back and him playing Elden Ring and us going into lands between together, and essentially me playing the game again. It kind of gets me like I kind of want to like.
I think I kind of wanna. Yeah, Ben. I
don't want. Now that I have the strategy guide, I can like go look through. It's like, oh, I know where. Really, the strategy guide, I have it for the maps.
Ben, again, like if we lived in a different universe where we had didn't have opposing work schedules, like we would have already done an Elden Ring playthrough together.
Oh God, yeah. We probably would have like replayed this game.
We would have done a themed character where we're like two of some like anime or comic nonsense. Like
that's the kind of shit I would have jumped in on.
Yeah, this would have happened, but time.
Like even I told myself if I were to play Elden Ring again, I would definitely be a wizard swordsman.
I would
instead of me just doing the pure strength build that I was doing.
Yeah.
I would definitely be a more magic based build because I want to try the magic stuff.
That's exactly what I wanted us to do, like the opposite. I wanted me to be pure physical and you pure magic, and then see how that works. Because that's that would have been like not what we're used to, and that would have been fun.
That would have been fun. That would have been fantastic.
Yeah, but we really have talked about Elden Ring. Like if you play video games, you know about Elden Ring, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. We've talked so much about Elden Ring, and I was not kidding when I said Elden Ring was in my PlayStation at the end of February of last year and did not leave until I got God of War.
That's a long time. Yeah. We put out two videos at the end of the year, and again, the game came out in February. Yeah. I said this on the regular podcast, but I put 700 hours onto my PlayStation, and 1/3 of that was Elden Ring. I put 233 hours in Elden Ring, and that is truly unfathomable for what can be considered a single player game.
I have put about 170 or 190 some hours. I'm like 199. I'm just under 200 hours into Elden Ring. And that's with me playing with you, Ryan. That's me playing with a friend of the show, Grayson.
Him a little bit.
That's me playing with Sparks for a hot second. That's me playing with my little brother. And that's just me playing the game because I want to play it.
And the best thing,
damn fun.
The best thing about it is our experience is not over because there is sometime this year we will be getting DLC.
Oh.
And the thing about FromSoft is like they, at least since the Dark Souls era, they always put out big, awesome, hardcore story DLC stuff. that's extra challenging and extra cool and gives you just the coolest armor, the coolest weapons, but you gotta like, oh, you thought the first part of the game was hard. Welcome to the part where you just paid extra to die more.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm so excited because like, Ben, when you played Bloodborne, did you do the DLC?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, so like
I told you the first time I met Maria at the Astral Clock Tower, I beat her my first try.
I honestly think FromSoft has some of the best DLC, like the coolest characters and coolest stuff. So like I am so excited to see like what they'll do with Elden Ring.
They have amazing characters, amazing monsters. Goddamn those lobsters.
It's a giant lobster. It's so dumb.
I hate those lobsters. Oh god. I cannot tell you what, especially in the subterranean shutting grounds, when I'm in there trying to get to the dam.
With the pipes, yeah.
Yes, when I was trying to get to the damn caverns, the catacombs, so I could do that catacombs quest, and it was like these freaking lobsters. I'm like, next time I go somewhere, I'm going to order the lobster and I'm going to eat it. I am going to enjoy. I'm playing it. I'm like I'm killing lobsters. I'm like, I will eat your famine.
Dinner for 3 at Red Lobster tonight, please. Yeah.
Pretty much, yes.
I described Elden Ring as like the best Dungeons and Dragons game not made by Wizards of the Coast, because like again, you can create any type of fantasy archetype you want. You want to be big sword man, big magic man, a mix of both. Any type of weapon, any type of magic, fire, ice, thunder, dragon, turn into a dragon. Like it's anything your heart desires, you can be it. You can do it. If you can dream it, you can live it. And just like my favorite thing in video games is giving you the freedom to do what you want. That's why I love open world games. I love RPGs. That's like that's my bread and butter. When you give me the ability to do what I want, I will feast. And I have never played a game in my life that let me feast more than Elden Ring. And not every game needs to be like this, but also like not many companies can do what they do with Elden Ring, because I've played open world games as big as Elden Ring that had 1/10 of the content, where it's just giant open fields because they could do it. And that's not the type of open world game. I don't want to play those anymore. I played those 10 years ago. Too many of them. That's half of Assassin's Creed games these days.
Mm-hmm.
Elden Ring.
Yeah.
Any other words on Elden Ring?
It's game of the year for a reason.
It's
fantastic for a reason.
Just thinking about it and looking at all the footage, I'm like, I want to play it again. But there's so many other things coming up.
Listen,
right now.
you ring the bell and we'll be there. Speaking of being there, Ben, I've only been here.
Yeah.
I've only been here for 1 hour, but I know you put significantly more hours into.
Oh yeah, I got some time into Pokemon Scarlet so I have Pokemon Scarlet, but when I refer to him from here on, I'll refer to it as Scarlet and Violet because two different versions. Ryan has Violet, I have Scarlet, which is good, so we can get some region-specific Pokemon.
Almost like it was done on purpose.
Exactly. I will say, this is, bugs aside, I really enjoy this game. I really think that this is this is a step in the right direction for what Game Freak because Game Freak is the one who really developed this game. Game Freak, this is a step in the right direction for Game Freak of what to do with future Pokemon games. Making it so you can go out of your way, or there's multiple. It's not like your standard, you beat the gym, you fight the boss, and then you do a legendary. It's none of that. It's like right from the get-go, it's like you do stuff in the tutorial, you go to class for a hot second, Paldea is your oyster.
Most Pokemon games are path driven. Like there's no room for exploration. Like it is obviously you can explore, but you can't go anywhere you want.
No, this one you could go anywhere you want. Unfortunately, the game doesn't level scale with you, which is a problem. So you can go to like the top of the mountain to the most strongest gym leader, and they throw out like a level 50 something, and you have your level 12 Fuecoco, and you're like, I'm in trouble.
Yeah, well, that's how you learn.
But the cool thing is, if you catch Pokemon under level 25, even if you don't have the badges for it, they will still listen to you because you've raised them. At that point, you've raised them, and you can you still use them in the harder gym in the harder gyms. Should you decide to go that route?
Yeah.
Finding wild Pokemon is actually fun. They pop up everywhere, like in Pokemon Let's Go, Pokemon Legends Arceus, and finding them and seeing how many there are, and actually shiny hunting, I feel, has become a lot easier now.
Oh yeah,
because you could see, because I actually caught my first wild shiny in Scarlet. It was a shiny Oikoloni, which is the evolved form of Lechonk. It was just walking around the field. I'm like,
Lechonk. I love Lechonk.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, there are bugs. There are still some problems with the Pokemon games that I don't want to completely forgive Game Freak for. But I will say the game as a whole is a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
It's still fun. It's still fun challenging these like this Titan Pokemon
Hell
that you
yeah.
fight early in the game. The new Pokemon look great, and with Scarlet and Violet, they finally crossed 100 or not 100, 1,000 different type of Pokemon.
It's a lot. Yeah, again, I've only put an hour in, but like I immediately could tell I was gonna dig this game. Again, yeah, I can get over the bugs. So then this isn't. I'm not playing Call of Duty. Like it's a little slow. It's still a turn-based combat system, right? So I'm still doing that. The open world it looks nice. It looks fun. It's not gonna say it's like gorgeous, but it's a great looking game. It looks really great. It's got a good art style. Pokemon's always had a great art style. The Pokemon being in the world themselves is such a game changer. I didn't play the last one that did this, but Pokemon being in the world is such a game changer. And again, like being able to see shinies, I don't know if I've ever caught a shiny in my life, Ben. I don't know if I've ever in my life because I've never really cared, and it's like 1 in 1,000,000. It's like 1 in 1,000 or whatever. It's crazy.
Have you played Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Gold Silver Crystal?
Nope.
Yeah, because
I play the originals.
all right, because in Gold, Silver, Crystal, there is a chance for you to get an automatic shiny, and that's that's the red Gyarados. That's with the Gyarados in the Lake.
Oh, I think you even get that in the regular gold too. You get a red Gyarados.
Yeah. No, in Gold, Silver, Crystal, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, because that part is part of the story. You have to fight the red Gyarados.
Yeah.
You can't catch him, and I actually caught him when I played. I'm like, sweet, because that was the only shiny I had for the longest time was my red Gyarados, and I thought, oh, he's just a regular red Gyarados. I never knew that there's such a thing called shiny Pokemon.
Yeah.
And that was you could only do that thanks to the Game Boy Color, so you could see the colors, because that's what a shiny is. It's a different coloration.
Yeah. Again, I'm still so early, but it is still a Pokemon game. But like, the quality of life improvements is so great. Like, once you fight a Pokemon, the next time you fight them, it'll tell you if your moves are effective or not against them. That's such just a nice, easy thing, because I'm not going to remember every single, especially now that there's so many new types of Pokemon. Like, I'm not going to remember like the Steel and the Fairies. Like, I don't have all that ingrained in my brain, like what everyone's allergic to.
I've been playing Pokemon for 25 years.
Yeah.
Close to 30 years now, because that 30th anniversary is creeping up on us really quick.
It's true.
And I can still say I play with a cheat sheet.
That's fine though. I
have a cheat sheet on my phone that I pull up. I just look up the type of edges. Then I'm like, oh, cool. Because I forget what the type are. I mean, obviously you got the obvious ones, but then
the water and fire. Yeah.
I forget. So like, what's Fairy weak against? Fairy is weak against Steel and Poison. So like,
why is it weak against Steel? What the hell what does that make any sense?
Because in Myth, fairies are weak to iron. They can't hold iron, so
steel. Sure. Okay. The Witcher has to kill monsters with steel swords, whatever, that's fine. But yeah, the also the thing that I really, really like is the auto battler, so you can grind. You don't get nearly as much experience, but you don't have to fight 100 Pokemon in a row every single battle. You can just auto grind it.
You could just like have your Pokemon go out and just point and go sick 'em, boy.
Yeah.
And they go.
I did that for like a lot. I feel like the once the tutorial stuff ended, because like the first like 30 minutes is just tutorial stuff in a lot of these games. But like once I was in the open world and I caught like 3 Pokemon, I just auto battled like for like 30 minutes, and I was like, I just want to get all these guys leveled up so I can beat that gym battle so easy.
I could definitely say when I'm playing this, my Pokedex brain pops up. I was like, oh, I don't have you in my Pokedex. I don't have you in my Pokedex, and then it's like, but do I want you on my team? Nah, I just want you with a Dex entry, and then
put them in the box.
I'm on I have like 5 boxes full of Pokemon now.
Well, you gotta catch them all. That's what you do.
Yeah. And I'm still like, and I whatchamacallit. I'm also texting a friend of mine. I'm also Grayson, because he has Violet as well, and we're like, okay, we need to figure out a day where we can come and trade, because he has a Pokemon I really want on my team that's only exclusive in Violet. Mm-hmm. So,
my final question: who is your starter?
Play Coco, of course.
Who? Okay.
Wait, Coco, the fire starter.
Yeah, I got the pig. Yeah, I got the pig too. Me as well.
The pig.
Is
your starter?
Isn't he a pig? I picked a pig.
Yeah, that will do.
Tepig. Is it a Tepig?
Yeah, but that's black and white.
Oh, I don't know. Oh wow, what did I pick? Oh no, I picked the Quaffle or whatever. I don't know. It's yeah, I picked Quaxley.
You picked the duck. Okay.
Hell yeah, I picked the duck.
Ben picks fire because fire is cool.
Fire is cool.
Fire is cool.
Speaking of continuing to talk
That's
about
why he'll only pick fire.
cool things, Ben, we're gonna
Not all the time. I picked Grottle when I was playing Diamond the first time. But
Sure.
anyways,
85% of the time. Ben
Why
will
don't
pick
we move
fire.
from one Pokemon game to the other, Benjamin?
oh my gosh, guys, I cannot tell you how happy I am to finally, after 25 or 25 plus years of knowing about Pokemon cards, I finally know how to play the damn game. Thanks to the Game Boy game that you're watching up here, the Pokemon TCG was honestly one of the best purchases I made when I went to Portland Retro Gaming Expo this past quarter, and back in October. I love this game. I absolutely find this game fantastic. And if you do not know how to play the Pokemon TCG, and you buy this game, if you find it at a retro game store and it's loose and you're worried that you have to look up a manual, you have to look up a guide, and you start a new game, the best part about it is that there's a tutorial and it will teach you from the get-go how to play this game step by step. Now, and also the base rules for this and the current one, which Ryan, I saw you had things from the Pokemon TCG online. They're still basically the same. There's only a few tweaks, small tweaks here and there. And this game is fantastic if you want to learn how to play Pokemon TCG. Highly recommend it if you want. And also, as a card game itself, it's actually the action does look a little slow, but
I lied. I did pick Fuecoco.
Ah!
I forgot. I didn't remember any of their names. I had to check.
All right. What was I saying about
Sorry.
TCG? It's all right. I was saying something about Pokemon TCG. What was I saying?
It'll teach you.
Yeah, it'll teach you how to play, but it is old because this game came out in the year 2000, and the
Game
first
Boy.
3 sets of like the original base set, the jungle set, and the fossil set are included in the Game Boy version. But as a way to get the gist and the basics of Pokemon, it's really fun. And also, there's a level of satisfaction you have when you're finally able to throw out your Charizard, evolved Charizard with no damage counters, fully energized, ready to attack, and just lay waste to your opponent. It is a good feeling when you get those combos out. And the action on screen might be a little boring, but at the same time, this is a card game video game. Mm-hmm. But it does its job, which is teach people how to play the game, and then you find a play style that fits you. And the only bummer with this game I'll have to say is that there's no real way to go out and get more card packs outside of dueling, because you have to duel people.
Speaking of duels,
Speaking of duels, there's Yugi from Yu-Gi-Oh.
What?
Duel.
Duel. Yeah, so I would highly recommend this game. Super fun. And even Pokemon TCG Online, which is a free downloadable game for your computers, and I want to say some tablets. Unfortunately, I can't download on my phone, which is a bummer. Mm-hmm. It also can teach you how to play the Pokemon TCG, especially now in the modern times. And also, cool thing is, if you buy physical cards, there's a little code on it that you could put into the online game, and you get a pack. Mm-hmm. You get a pack of cards. Like, you buy a pack of physical cards, and you also get a pack of digital cards as well.
Remember when comics used to do that?
I do. The game also looks like Pokemon. It looks like you're playing Pokemon.
Yeah, you look like you're playing Pokemon.
Yeah.
And you have to do 8 gyms, 8 badges, go to the Elite Four and prove that you're but they don't call them badges, they call them medals.
Love it.
It's a fun game. I highly enjoy it, and I really love this game. I'm so glad I got it, and it truly is a great game, especially for those who have never learned how to play the game, who constantly see people with binders upon binders of Pokemon cards, and you read the text like, I don't know what any of this means. It's a great way to see if you do want to try the card game or if you don't want to try the card game.
Sure.
I love it. Speaking of
card game, my deck is in this box right here.
Speaking of more card games, let's transition to a board game. Villainous.
Oh, I love this game.
It's so funny to me that you've just discovered this.
I didn't discover it.
No, I mean discover that you love it.
I have been okay. In my defense, I have been wanting this game for a good long while.
Sure.
I just never pulled the trigger to buy it. I
Yeah.
bought the villainous Marvel one for you for Christmas because I knew you had more board game stuff. But for me, I was like, I didn't want to spend the money. I want the game. I want to try the game. And then I was gifted for it for Christmas, and now my entire household is obsessed with Villainous. We got the base pack, the Cruella, and the Evil Queen boards, or the expansions, and then a few days go by, we play a few rounds with the characters, and next thing I know, Fanny and I are buying more expansions, and we're just one short of a complete set right now.
Mm-hmm.
And also, we're frothing at the mouth, hoping that Ravensburger, the company that produces and publishes these games, come out with more expansions with more villains, because guess what we like to talk about? What would be good Disney villains to add in Villainous?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I played Villainous. I played it once at our old place. It was the Marvel one, and I had a good time. But it's definitely like a complicated game, and like your very first time playing it isn't going to be like all that it's all that it is, because you got to learn a lot of stuff. But it's always been a game I want to play more of, because like it's super cool. It's just a little more engagement than on most other games. You need to really invest into it.
Yeah, and also even when you have, because at my house there's 3 people here, and we do 3 per player Villainous a lot. Last night we had 5 people, and that took a while. That was a lot.
Oh yeah.
But it was really fun. It was an absolute blast to play. And what I love about Villainous is that it's not those type of card games or those type of board games where you have to like mix and match everything. Everything you have is up to you, but you can screw people over with the Fate deck or with other things. But you're focused. You have to focus on yourself, but you also have to be wary of the other villains around you, so you can try to make sure that they don't win and you do.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Do you have any thoughts on Villainous? I know you played a little bit.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it's really cool. I recently, in this last quarter, I did play the Star Wars Villainous one, which is really great. They really changed up some stuff from the other versions, so that there's a whole other kind of game mechanic and a whole other kind of map location design for the Star Wars version. I think it's really cool. They're all worth playing for sure. They're well thought out games.
Hell yeah. All right, y'all. So that's all of yours. So I have 2 games that I'm going to talk about, because I've talked about, like, Elden Ring and Marvel Snap and God of War. My game of the year, if Elden Ring didn't come out, would have been Marvel's Midnight Suns. And boy howdy, is this a game when the initial previews were coming out, the people who played the first couple hours going, yeah, it's pretty good. Like, it's, it seems kind of a little wonky here and there, but it seems all right. Because that's a game where the more you play it, the better it gets, and the more it's like one of those games like you were talking about earlier. The more you put into it, the more you get out of it. Because this is a game that's one part narrative story, but it's also part like it's not a romance Persona type game, because there are no romance options, but it's like a BFF simulator. And it's also a tactics game. But instead of their regular tactics, like an XCOM or a Fire Emblem, it's a card-based system, which is new for this type of game. And a lot of people are really worried and hesitant about the system. But guys, I have to tell you, it is so good. It is like 10 out of 10 combat. I love it. It's so strategic and well thought out, and like just like some of the other games we've talked about, the characters feel so well realized, and all of their powers are so fun to use. Like we have to see Doctor Strange and Iron Man. Like they are so fun. Every single character to play as is fun. It turns out my favorite characters to play as ended up being Captain Marvel, Ghost Rider, and Magic from the X-Men. Probably with Wolverine as a top 4. Every character is worth playing and feels different. Characters like the Scarlet Witch is very chaotic, and just like it's something like a Marvel Uno, her abilities are very chaotic and like hex based, so a lot of random things can happen. The thing that I love about it, it has my favorite gameplay loop of the year, where as your character, you'll wake up, you'll go train with one of your heroes to give them a combat boost or to level them up. You'll go on a mission, which we're seeing on the screen here, which is, your tactics gameplay. You play a great mission for 5 to 10 minutes. If it's a story mission, maybe 20 to 30. You'll come back, you'll hang out with one of your heroes that you just went on a mission with. So you'll watch a movie, you'll play video games, you'll go painting, you'll work out together, you'll go swimming, and then you go to sleep and you do it again. And every single day, every single day there's new dialogue to hear, there's new places to see, there's things to uncover. The customization for your character, the hunter, you can create them however you want, and the more you play, the more customizable options are unlocked, so you can make whatever type of character you want. And the suits that you get are incredible. You get like Venom symbiote suits, and you get like Stark tech suits and like magic suits. It's so cool. You get like an anti-Venom suit because you have to go against Venom. It's really great. The combat, again, I just can't stress how fun the combat is, and how well the characters are realized. It ended up being about a 40-hour experience, and I could have made that last another 20 if I wanted to. Because Ben, you played Fire Emblem, so you know that you'll have like general quests. You can do quests that don't further the story, so you can level characters up, and then you'll have your main big stories that will further stuff, right? So they always tell you like, hey, here's a story quest, and sometimes they won't let you do story quests. Like, hey, you have to do regular quests before you do that. So like playing the game is so fun, and like the options to make whatever character you want in terms of offense or defense is really there. The synergy between characters is great. I can't believe 2 of my favorite games this year are 2 Marvel card games. It's really crazy. And we talked about Avengers earlier in this podcast. This is the best Avengers game I've ever played, because yeah, it's called Midnight Suns, but it is a worldwide cataclysm. So the Midnight Suns of the Avengers have to team up. So half the cast is a bunch of Avengers. You know, it's Iron Man, Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange. The story stuff is great because it's these big time heroes coming in to take over the Midnight Suns spot, basically. And it turns out they're not so good at dealing with these types of threats. It's just like Justice League Dark. Like, you need a team like that to deal with those types of threats. So the animosity that is building between some of the characters, obviously you got Tony Stark and Doctor Strange, so like that's going to be there. But the relationship stuff is so good. And the one thing that I won't fully spoil it, but like one of the fun things about this game is like the character evolutions and the character growth between certain characters. Blade has a crush on Captain Marvel, and you get to see how that progresses over 40 hours. And that is natural, and there's like progress, and it doesn't feel like it's like rushed or anything. And it has a beautiful, lovely finale. And like right before the game ends, there's a beautiful conclusion to that story. And it's just like there's book club, and you go and you read books with Captain America and Blade and Wolverine Wolverine shows up on his first day, and he's like, I didn't read the book, sorry. And it's just like, what are we doing here, Logan? The characters are so well written. For the most part. And it's a lot of the same voice actors. Like Wolverine is Steve Blum from all the Wolverine cartoons. It's Yuri Lowenthal as Spider-Man, so you have that Spider-Man. He's like, oh, he came from his game into this game. It's just like, it's a lot. Like a lot of other games we talked about, there's so much love for the Marvel Universe. There are daily missions that you can go on that you send a character on a mission and they come back with resources, right? That's like an off-screen thing. There are dozens of Marvel Universe references, like, oh, Moon Knight needs help with this thing. Oh, Spider-Woman needs help. Nick Fury, blah, blah, blah. And it all feels in character. If you're a fan of the Marvel Universe, you owe it to yourself to play this game. If you love tactics games, you owe it to yourself to play this game. If you love both, this is a Game of the Year contender. In a year without Elden Ring, this is the best game of the year, in my opinion. And that's Elden Ring. Or that's not Elden Ring, that's Marvel.
Marvel.
That's Marvel Midnight Suns.
No, I'm really excited about it because once Ragnarok's off my table, this is probably the next thing
and this is a big investment game
because
too.
I'd like to clear both of these off my backlog to have room for Elden Ring, and now kind of wanting to go back to Last of Us Part 2 because of the show. And then there's a big Final Fantasy game coming later this year that I intend to play.
Oh, so. You got a couple months. You got a couple months for that one.
Yeah, but like, what can I do in a few months?
Yeah. So the last thing I'll say on Midnight Suns is they have a Firaxis, the makers of this game, they always have great DLC packs that come out. The next DLC, or the one coming up, is going to be Deadpool, Storm, Morbius, and Venom. Deadpool comes out today. And he not only comes with Deadpool, but there's also the new vampire faction group of enemies that you can fight. And I'm desperately struggling not to start a New Game Plus because I want to wait for those other characters. Because I really want to play as Venom. I actually really want to play as Morbius, but most desperately I want to play as Storm. Because if you just let me play as a team of X-Men, I will do that. I will play those general missions for 100 hours. Just let me play as the X-Men and do cool stuff. I love it. Midnight Suns, great game. I'm happy it's a success. I wish it was selling a little better, but you know, Marvel, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. The last game that we're going to talk about, y'all, was announced yesterday.
Yeah,
Came
wild.
out yesterday.
Wild.
And I've never in my life played a game that was released. I've never played a game so close to its announcement and release at the same time, because this game was announced and then I was playing it 3 hours later. And Ben, do you not know about this game called Hi-Fi Rush?
No.
Ben, I played 2 hours of this game. Hi-Fi Rush is the new action rhythm game by the developers of The Evil Within. Remember that horror game you played based off Resident Evil?
Yeah.
This is the next game they released, and it's stealth dropped yesterday on Xbox. And it
Really?
is, yes. And I'm not kidding you, y'all. If I played 2 hours, this is apparently around an 8-hour game. It's a smaller indie game, not indie, but it's a smaller like a B size game. If this game stays as good as it is, this is a game of the year contender. It reminds me of like Ratchet and Clank meets Guardians of the Galaxy, because music is so important to the game. If you notice the world, all the lights, the elevators, steam will rise from the grates to the sound of music. Everything is bumping to a beat. Everything. You had a terrible accident because of this corporation where you had your iPod infused into your soul, and now the world responds to the music that you play. It is a bombastic, incredible idea for a game, and every time you hit on the rhythm, you hit a little stronger. It's very much like a rhythm game, but it feels almost kind of like Kingdom Hearts 2. You have a guitar, almost like a keyblade, and you have light attacks, heavy attacks, and you can dodge. But it is so funny, and it is one of the best looking games I've ever played. This game looks almost like I don't even know how to describe it. Like, it looks like almost like an anime. Like it looks, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like a Netflix anime, except it actually looks good.
It's like Jet Set Radio meets anime aesthetics.
What's the first name?
Jet Set Radio.
Jet Set
Meets
Radio, yeah.
Anime aesthetics.
Oh, real quick, I wanna look at this. This was a Elden Ring moment for me when you jump up into the world.
Yeah.
When I saw this during the Bethesda showcase, the Microsoft showcase, it blew my mind, and it blew a lot of people's minds. And now people are rushing to play this game so they can talk about it, which I did too, because it worked. Like, that's how you build hype, is you release a game that day, and if the game is good, people will talk about it.
I also saw the trailer last night and was like, oh shit, I need to play this
I think, Ben,
now.
I think you will really like this game. I think the combat, let's see, does it have the boss battle in the first section? Let's see, I don't want to, it's not super spoiler because it's like literally the beginning of the game. But there's a boss battle that has a Nine Inch Nails song in it.
Really?
It won't be here. But it has so much great. Oh, this is the trailer. Okay, it has so much great style and the different. You know what it actually reminds me of most? It's Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
I was gonna say
That's what it is, because you are
He even
introduced.
looks like Scott.
You are introduced to 7 evil corporation bosses.
Yeah.
And it has all this great music. The first boss, like I said, it's like the game opens to the Black Keys, and then the first boss is Nine Inch Nails, and he shoots to the beat of the song. It is so incredible. Like, I am so surprised by this game, and the thing that is most surprising is this is by the makers of some of the most horrifically violent and gross games ever made. The Evil Within, and then they made Ghostwire Tokyo, the Ghost game that came out last year. This is clearly a passion project. It is a level-based, there's like 8 acts, and there's like level 1, level 2, level 3, and then you beat like the whole stage. But it's like score-based, so like you'll want to replay the stages to get a better score. But it's like this game that came out of nowhere. It has a talking robot cat who's your companion. I love it. Like, it's already like, if the game stays this good, like it'll be on my top 10, 100%. I thought it was it is just sensational. It is, and again, it's really funny, and like he's a future rock star in training. That's what he wants to do. He wants to be a rock star, and then he accidentally gets involved in this evil corporation who like clearly runs the world. There is very clearly like anti-capitalism marketing going on in this thing. There's a bunch of robots who are just like doing their jobs and like being exploited, and like they're carrying like 500 pounds of boxes. Like, I can't carry this. Why did I agree to do this? Like, very clearly making fun of capitalism. There's a section that reminds me of Attack of the Clones, where you're trying to run under things that are trying to pounce on you. Just great stuff. Great stuff. Every level feels a little bit different than the last one. Love it. I can't wait for everyone to play this. I know you'll check it out. Ben, you should definitely check it out. I don't know if it's on anything else besides Xbox.
It's just on Steam.
Just
Xbox,
on Steam?
PC.
Okay. Maybe one day it'll come to PlayStation, but this is
Switch.
Or Switch, true, yeah. This is absolutely a game to look out for. It is oozing with style. I don't want every game to stealth release because that won't be good for their marketing or budgets or whatever, but like it worked for this studio, I guess, because like this game is already like after like not even 24 hours later, it's blowing up. And I can't wait to play it because again, it is a short enough game where I'm like, oh, I can play 6 more hours, then this game easy. And that's Hi-Fi Rush, and that is all the games that we played.
Expect me to talk about Hi-Fi Rush before the year's over.
Oh yeah, I wanted to make sure I got it in because if it was as good as it looked, I wanted to get the word out. So yeah, that's the games that we played in the last couple months, y'all. Look at that.
Yeah.
What a beautiful couple months it was.
It was a great couple months. Now, as much as I love playing Elden Ring, part of me is now actually kind of relieved that I'm not playing Elden Ring anymore, because then when we do the quarterly for January, February, and March, it's like, I have new games to talk about that aren't Elden Ring.
Boy, howdy. I don't have a list like I had last time of all the games coming out in the next couple months, but the only game that I care about truly comes out in tomorrow, and it's the Dead Space remake. And that game... we talked about on the last quarterly the Callisto Protocol was coming out and how stoked and excited I was, and you guys were as well. And that game turned out to be a big old clunker, a big old dumpster fire, which is a big sadness for me. But it turns out that Dead Space remake, that's a hell of a game, and it's not just a perfect remake. It adds on to it. It takes stuff from the other games, it brings it into one to make it a more fuller experience. So when they do remake those other games, it is one like full process. They apparently added story stuff to it to make it even better. And like the one person I trust the most about horror games on YouTube gave it a like 9.5 out of 10. So I am so excited to actually play a good survival horror game this month. And right before my birthday, so excited. I can't wait.
Excited.
Also, real quick, to tie it back into Fortnite, there's an Isaac Clarke Dead Space bundle
I saw that.
on Fortnite where you get the Ishimura ship and you get his plasma cutter and you get the cool suit. And I'm like, man, they know how to get me. Damn you, Fortnite. Damn you, Fortnite.
Yeah, very excited about Dead Space coming out, most specifically because I think we'll all be enjoying that remake to some extent this year.
This year is going to be a very spooky year for Basement Arcade.
Watch this Dead Space. Yeah, there's a lot of I think the major things, like I'm sure by the next time we do a quarterly, we'll have at least begun and can talk about collectively the Jedi Survivor game, which is coming out in March.
Oh yeah.
So check out us talking about that probably next quarterly.
Yeah, I guess that might be the next biggest game, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And then not too long after that is going to be the next Zelda.
Oh God, that's going to be
Tears
great.
of the Kingdom,
Hell yeah.
and the Final Fantasy 16 later in the middle of the year.
It's going to be a spicy year for JRPGs.
Oh, not only that, I want to at least be Pokemon so I can justify buying Fire Emblem Engage, because that came out this past week.
Engage.
Yeah.
Yeah, it came out last week. Really good reviews.
Yeah, my immediate goal in this next quarter is to finish God of War Ragnarok and then start Marvel Midnight Suns and go back and finish Cult of the Lamb for good.
Last of Us.
And we'll see. The Last of Us might happen.
You can just wait for season 2.
I got time.
You got time, yeah.
I might make sure that I can clear these other things, because I think Jedi Survivor and Final Fantasy 16 are going to be a little higher on my priorities. I'd also like to touch the Sonic Frontiers game at some point.
Oh yeah,
I actually started that.
hell yeah.
Hey, there it is. Look at that.
Whoop, there it is.
All right. I think that'll do it, Ben.
That will do it, yeah. So, Sparks, Ryan, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me scrambling to catch up and finish God of War Ragnarok at SparksWitty on Instagram and Twitter, SPARKZWitty.
Ryan?
You could find me really hoping that they add Dracula to Midnight Suns to come with the vampire army that is added, because you can't have one without the other. Add DJ Tony Snark 616 everywhere.
And of course, you can find me on the internet at BenMaggot27, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. And you can also find all three of us, plus Brandon, hosting the Fake Nerd Podcast, which is we do live every Sunday. You can also check out fakenerdpodcast.com. That website has links to everything, and I literally mean everything.
Everything.
Has links to all of the shows that we've done. It has links to our YouTube, links to our Patreon, links to writings whenever we do writings up there. And that's essentially the hub. That's essentially the hub to all things Fake Nerd Podcast. So fakenerdpodcast.com. Go there. All the links are there.
Yeah,
So,
check out the pause menu review for God of War Ragnarok. That was recent. Other pause menu stuff will be coming soon. Other Basement Arcade stuff is coming soon.
More stuff.
We got a recent discussion on Fake Nerd Podcast was
Puss in
about
Boots?
hyping up the year.
Oh, that's
we
it.
have a Puss in Boots Last Wish on Animation Station with Brandon and I.
It's true.
There are some
Last of Us.
Absolutely. Ryan and I are doing a discussion on the Last of Us TV adaptation, so check that out over on Fake Nerds Watch because
Jesus,
we
Joel.
are going through that with our friend Pi. It's great.
Sure.
There's another Fake Nerds Watch coming soon, a Willow season wrap-up,
Willow,
I believe.
yeah.
Yes.
Brandon and I just recorded that earlier today.
There it is.
So that's coming up.
Lovely.
Lots of stuff.
So yeah, all this great stuff. So guys, thank you again for doing this. I'll definitely see you next quarter. I'll definitely see you sooner than that, obviously.
Well, you'll see us for sure.
Yeah, I'll see you guys for sure. So yeah, but until next time, unpause.